Welcome, welcome to the latest episode of Sorcery Shenanigans. We are back after a near enough 6 month hiatus of taking some time off to recharge our batteries. I am your DM Wayne, and here are your players, Kim and Jill. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been. So we're like a bit of a recap, of course, is coming about where we are in the story with the players, and then we're going to jump straight into it. So, are you ladies good to go? Are we good to jump in straight in?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yes.
gotta get this keyboard out of the way because I don't need it.
Hmm. Well, where we last saw our adventurers, they had just returned from a trip through time, um, along with their friend, newly acquired friend, the Emperor Brennan, a Doar druid, who accompanied them into the past to uncover some secrets that were eluding them regarding the the general course they were being thrust upon. They discovered a band of refugees that were being pursued by the followers of Tharizdun, who were themselves disguised as followers of Love. Uncovering this plot, they then went about trying to help the refugees get to their destination, and in so discovered that they knew members of this group. Zilzara met her parents and herself as a baby, and Gray met her former buddy Ardicus, who has since passed away. That started and their death, who started Gray on their current journey.
Oh, you're
Um,
Back to the Future, Batman.
Fully on like Great Scott, this is heavy doc type stuff. So, between all the jigs and reels, they managed to discover that the followers of Tharizdun, who they had followed through time, had come into possession of a tome that told of the legend of Tharizdun, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, a bit of a paradox situation, that due to them traveling back in time, they in turn laid out their own future. Um, and this cult member recruited local individuals, who they soon also discovered was one Carabash, who was the supposed first mate on the Silver Spear back in their own time. Upon arriving, using a mycelial network of mushrooms and fungus to breach through the timeline, using the power of Emperor Brennan and his ability to communicate with such kind of network, they were able to travel through back through time to their own timeline, just in time to see the Silver Spear be disabled and Carabash absconding with an unconscious Captain Mingna uh, laying across his shoulders as he jumped onto one of Tharizdun's lackeys' um, ships, as they then shot off into the void, leaving a disabled Silver Spear hanging in the void. The group then boarded the ship, discovering multiple injuries, one fatal, as one of the twin pilots of the helm, Karad, had been struck down by Karabash's poison blade, as they found him in the helm room with his twin Elevar and the medic Merrick, standing over him trying to revive him, but failing to do so, as Karad had passed and died from their wounds, literally a big blade sticking out of their chest. And that is where we left our adventurers. And that is where we're picking up now. A couple of hours have passed since that time. As you find yourselves in Captain Mingna's quarters, um, the medic Merrick is with you, looking concerned as the group, small members of the crew. So, just to give you again to remind people, the Silver Spear is like a Corvette style ship. So, it's a Spelljammer ship. It's a small enough ship, fast and nimble, with a crew complement of around 12 people. But two of them obviously absconded, and one of them now dead. Um, you're left with roughly a crew of around 9, as well as yourselves. So the group, the cleric, or Merrick, who is a cleric, Merrick the cleric, who is the ship's doctor, um, for better title.
Whenever you see quotes going up around the word doctor, it's always a fun time.
And you now find yourself in the quarters of Captain Mingna, trying to deliberate what to do next, as the Silver Spear hangs motionless, rudderless, short one pilot per se, while the other one grieves as the body of Cara is stored in the hold in stasis, and their brother Elevar sitting kind of in mourning with them. As Merrick looks kind of downtrodden and forlorn, the two of you sitting there with him, what do the group want to do?
I want to ask Elevar, and I don't want to. Obviously, the man is grieving the loss of his brother, so I want to try and, as sensitively as Z can, ask him. So are we stuck? Can we actually move the silver spear with just you?
So Elevar is in the hold with his brother's body.
Oh, sorry. What?
So it's lying.
Okay, so he's separate to us.
He's separate to you guys at the moment. Now you can
Okay.
be down there with him if you want to. That's totally fine. If you want to go visit him before you convene with Merrick and have this conversation, that's completely okay. That's not a problem at all. You can have the conversation with him and ask him the question.
Is the pilot past the point of healing? Is he taught?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's brown bread.
There's Zertelt.
Go on ahead, Jill.
Yeah, okay, right. I'm gonna take it upon myself and go down to the hold and kind of gingerly knock on the door. Huh, ginger. Knock on the door. I'm allowed to because I am one.
You are.
And interrupt Elevar's vigil briefly, just to give him my condolences and say, I know this is probably not what you want to hear right now, but unfortunately, we are stuck. We are vulnerable to any enemies out there, and obviously we need to make a plan to get the captain back. Is there any way we can move the ship with just you, without Carrot?
You step into the hold where Elevar is kind of sitting with the body of his brother, and as you step in, you notice there is a kind of an eerie kind of light purplish glow from a stasis field that has been kind of put around the body of Carrot, and sitting off to the end of it, it's sitting on top of like a long table, and there are a few candles lit in spaces, but the majority of the light comes from this kind of purplish stasis field where the body lies covered, draped in kind of like a blanket or a cloth or some sort. And Elevar sitting at the head of his brother's body. He's kind of sitting there looking, he's not looking like he's looking with his head in his hands, looking down at the floor. And as you step in, you notice straight away he doesn't seem to be like, he's not crying in any way. There's a sternness and a stiffness to his posture as he sits contemplatively, like staring at the floor with his hand on his chin, looking down. His long kind of white hair flowing down across his shoulders. You can see his brother's blood is still slick across his kind of attire, dried in. And he he hasn't changed.
Does he pick up whether it's anger as opposed to?
Give me an insight check, please. First roll. Here we go.
I will give the digital dice a go. She says
once.
Nope, that's a 4.
4.
No insight.
No, you can't really tell. And he kind of, it takes him a second to acknowledge your presence. And you've spoken. You've got the words that leave your mouth hang in the air a bit, and he kind of his eyes are raised first, and then his head comes up, and he's like, "I'm sorry. What you talked about piloting the ship, moving danger. What's?"
I guess I'm just wondering. I appreciate you and your brother have piloted the ship together for all this time. Can it be moved with just you? Do you need one of us to help? Because I'm just conscious that we are sitting ducks out here and we still need to make a plan with the rest of the crew to find the captain.
He kind of lets out a long sigh. He's like, "No, the ship is designed to be piloted by two in unison, together. And he's not like, it's absent-mindedly. His hand is resting completely on the table, and he kind of stands a bit as he keeps one hand close to where his brother lays. It will take another, with me or two individuals, but I am the most experienced member of the crew. And there's a sternness to him. It's kind of like, it's very much autopilot. He's like, it's kind of like, you can see, looking at him, he's answering the question matter-of-factly. There's no real emotion behind it. He's like, if there is somebody who is capable, arcane in nature, I could do it with them. I could teach them how, transfer the attunement with the helm easily enough. You yourself have sat in the chair. Your colleague, or our fellow crewmate, I suppose, Grey, has sat in the chair, if I'm not mistaken. There are options. I think if we are to sail in our current state, which is not desirable, considering the damage to the ship, there are repairs needed.
Yeah.
We would not be able to travel great distances. That's short transfers in the void.
Well, maybe if we confer with the rest of the crew and you're feeling up to it, if you can teach me a bit more, maybe I can help steer the ship when she's space worthy.
And you see, there's a kind of a realization come across his face as he looks back at the body of his brother. There is something I must ask if I am to do this.
Okay.
My family have certain traditions upon death, but burial rites that must be undertaken. And there's a strange. Give me another insight check real quick, just to see if you can.
Hell yeah, funeral episode.
Now that you're directly talking to him, and you can kind of engage him, might be able to read him a bit better. Were you on physical dice?
I did, and that was a nat one.
Whoa!
Back to the digital dice.
So you can't really get the read on him, but it's like he seems sincere about this, and there seems to be an adamancy about it. He wants this to happen, and it's not that he's insisting. He's like, seem to be asking this, but he's like, my brother needs to be buried according to our traditions, and there's only one place that this can be done, and that is our home sphere of Arconia Prime. If we are to repair the ship, we must do so in the void, but I must insist that you at least, we travel there, and I need to bring my brother home.
I think that is the least we can do for you and Carriage, and I don't think the rest of the crew will disagree. I can vouch for my little furry friend. I think Grey will be on board as well. But I think we do need to have that conversation with them, and make a plan for traveling to your home world and where we go to after that. Obviously, the first steps are to repair the ship, take stock of what the damage is, and repair that so that we can get out of here.
Damage, yes. I would recommend speaking to Merrick on that one. I will be here if you need me. And he sits back down. Doesn't kind of resign himself, doesn't go back to putting his head in his hands. He just sits back down, and you see him kind of just looking around the space as if looking at it for the first time, and then his eyes rest on his brother's body once again, and he's just nodding his head. We need to take him home. Is Jill frozen?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe she's just really reverent. Yeah.
I saw her say shit really quickly, and then all of a sudden, froze.
Okay. Hey.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. You guys were frozen on my screen. It's saying my internet connection is unstable, which is a lie. It should be fine.
Yeah, Zoom does that from time to time. It's a pain in the arse.
Anyway, sorry.
So where I left off, he basically said, the last thing he said was, "I just need to take my brother home."
Yeah.
And we'll start from there.
Okay. All right. Well, you stay here. I'll go and talk to Merrick and the rest, and I'll come back for you when we need you.
Thank you.
I'm going to make my way out of the hold and back to the captain's quarters and relay my conversation with Elivar to Merrick and Gray. I presume everybody's going to gather in to kind of
you
get the
see,
lay of the
as you
land.
come up out of the hold and you're up on the main deck now, the ship is now kind of righted itself. It's not listing in any way, shape, or form. It's still stable in the void, but there's no movement. There's no energy through the ship. That arcane hum that you were used to from traveling on the Spear is very much diminished. The ship is keeping itself afloat. You still have a sphere of air around the ship. It's still habitable, but you don't know how much longer it's going to stay that way. You can see crew are milling about the place. They're moving debris and trying to make quick repairs on the decking where they can. You see some of the weaponry has been damaged. You can't tell whether it's from battle or intentional, whatever, sabotage of any type. But you can see the crew are milling about as best they can. There are one or two. There's about maybe 6 people on the deck doing all this. Even the Griff cook is up there hoisting large kind of planks of wood and trying mucking in and helping. Give me another insight check. Let's see if you can third time's the charm on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna try the digital
Zilzara empathy queen.
Nope, that'll be a 6.
Wow. Holy shit. Let me know if you need any help with anything.
You can't, even as you quickly move across the deck, the crew don't really, one or two look up, but at your current processing what you were talking to Elivar about and what you have to address for the rest of the ship, and the kind of the responsibility seems to be weighing on you all of a sudden, you can't really get a read on the crew just yet. You make your way back into the captain's quarters, and that's where Gray and Merrick and one or two other crew members that as being having more longevity on the crew than others, and you've seen them in your travels here on the ship, but they're kind of staying to the back of the room, and Merrick is kind of at the front with Gray as you walk in. Everyone looks up to see you enter.
Okay. I'm going to have a chat with Merrick and Gray. I'm going to tell them about my conversation with Elivar and ask Merrick, has he done it? Does he know the full extent? Do you know the full extent of the damage to the ship? Do we have an idea of how much time is needed to get her space worthy?
You've done. Merrick kind of peeks his head up. For your interactions with Merrick have been varied, but just to give you a description of what Merrick is and what he looks like, he's an older gentleman. There's definite elven features there, but not fully. There's like a half elf or quarter elf in him somewhere. He has
a quarter that doesn't trust me.
He's tall and lithe. He's a skinny individual. He's got kind of a shock of white hair that is cropped tightly on the sides and slightly spiked on the front, with a couple of car parks on either side. It's receding, but he's on in years. He definitely is old. He has a thin and curled mustache, that's kind of waxed and preened, and then a pointed kind of chin beard down, with kind of high cheekbones. He would have been quite attractive in his younger years, but comes off as slightly pompous. But the crew seem to like him, and he gets on well with most folks. He has a good bedside manner. He's not like he's more along the lines of a nice doctor than a kind of a Dr. McCoy, I'm a goddamn it man, I'm a doctor, not a shipwright type of a situation. He's like, well, we have taken stock of the general damage to the helm, which is the extensive part. a lot of the control systems, the propulsion pieces are heavily damaged. Carabash went at them viciously with his blade, and even cost a few spells, which was surprising to see. But that is where the majority of the damage lies. We will not be making long trips in the void, short, quick, general jumps for now until we can find somewhere to repair. And the crew do have some suggestions on that they've relayed to me. For the rest of it, it's a bit cosmetic. Our weaponry has been sabotaged significantly. Any of our main weaponry that we had at the front of the ship and on the port side completely sabotaged and destroyed. Full elements of them removed. Arcane crystal batteries completely drained of energy. This was well planned, and we did not see it coming. I think first things first, we have to find the materials to repair the ship. And as you say, if Elevar wants to take his brother home, who are we to dismiss that? His family, from what I know, they have deeply embedded traditions that must be adhered to. I've seen it myself on courts and on royal courts that I've served in. And Merrick hasn't really given you any of his history before. He's never really talked to you about where he's been before he was a doctor on a pirate ship. But you get a sense of air and graces about him. Like he's seen stuff, you know? He's definitely been around the block a few times, and he knows
Bang a Simon Tam off him.
But he has that air to him. He's like he knows the finer side of life, and he did something at some point, obviously, to get him to this point.
Yeah.
But he seems there's an understanding there of what's required for Elevar in order to get him to where he needs to be. There is one suggestion that I would make that maybe might be significant to us. There is, in the next quadrant, there is a ship graveyard, a spelljamming graveyard, where we might scrounge and forage materials to repair
salvage job
the majority of the damage we have done to the ship. But it will require somebody to help Elevar to pilot it there. We will be unable to make the journey with just one spelljamming pilot, one helm pilot. It is required for two on this ship. It is both to its bonus and detriment that is the configuration of this ship.
Yeah. Well, I've already offered to help Elevar pilot the ship.
You have experience of such things.
I've helped you guys before, and I'm hoping that maybe if we can meditate together and become more attuned in the days that it takes to do the minimal repairs to get to the spacecraft graveyard, that will help. Not something that I had on my bingo card for this year, but you know, I feel like I owe it to Elevar and, you know, Carrot for getting us this far to get us to the next step.
I think that's great. So I think if we have, if you can do what you got to do to get us there, and we have people with us that can identify the parts, we'll help any way we can if we're shown anything. I don't know why you're talking about bingo being that vicious combat sport that exists in this sphere, but I volunteered to help everybody. I think it's probably going to be repair ship, go to Elvar's home, and then whatever needs to happen from there. But we'll take if it takes a journey to the graveyard, then somewhere else for more equipment. I could do that too.
Yes, I mean, I do believe this graveyard in particular will have enough for us to be able to repair ourselves to get us to Varconia Prime, which is Elvar's home sphere. Um, I think we should make the preparations for that for sure. Just to make you aware, the crew, the majority of them are quite green. They joined us at the Flotsam with a sense of maybe becoming gelled as this crew is. Um, we do have a good crew of long-standing members, but none of them are looking to be de facto captain right now, and I certainly have enough dealing with the injured. Just to make you aware that they are looking to the both of you for guidance in this matter.
Oh, interesting.
Because
Well,
you seem to be the most experienced adventurers amongst all of us.
I mean, we are that. Take the spacecraft out of it, and we are that. We're also a united front, so if that helps anybody. I remember you telling me that. I remember a time in my life you telling me that would make me run away. So obviously, there's been a maturation happen somewhere, but we can be that for people. I don't know for how long, but we can certainly do it in this period of turmoil.
I think, you know, while we're awaiting the return and rescue of Captain Mingna, Gray, I think it's you, buddy. I think I'm going to be helping Elevar propel the ship. So I think Captain Kitty Cat would be amazing.
If it
Oh,
helps,
I just
if it helps,
got more nervous.
I could find a very large hat to make it a thing.
I think I like a hat. I think I like a hat. Well, no, look, alone? Okay, I mean, sure.
If it makes you feel better, I can be your co-captain when you need it. I'm just conscious that if I have to be down propelling the ship with Elevar and somebody needs to be making decisions, that's gonna have to be you, I think.
Sure. I'm gonna do something. As a symbolic thing to myself. And I'm going to I'm plotting getting my amulet that I normally hold and use to focus whatever, and I'm thinking of applying it to my shield and having it on there all the time.
Okay.
And I probably at this point spiritually carrying the shield around was my way to stay with Articus, and I was half thinking of putting it down now because I feel like a chapter closed. But I don't think I will. I think I'm going to juice it instead.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally doable.
I'm planning to do that, but obviously I'm not going to start doing metal work right now.
Well, you mean, look, there's going to be some time to, like, there's going to be travel here. There's going to be different things happening. So whenever you have the time to do it, by all means, feel free to go ahead and we'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
So Merrick is like nodding. He's like, excellent. Okay, well, we have, and he kind of turns to one of the other crew members who comes over, and you see this, young enough looking tiefling, with kind of a greenish hue to their skin, curled horns that kind of follow the contours of their head, and they've got like a mohawk in the center and then braids down the side. And she kind of takes a map and flips it out on the central table, and you see it's a star chart. And she kind of like, right, well, we're here, and we have this sector over here, this quadrant here. It's literally a small jump to this section here. She points to a section on the star chart that seems to be just a large dark blob, but there's like a continual circle of rocks and debris that's been drawn around it, and there's some text scrawled very, very quickly beside it that just says graveyard on it. She goes, this will take a small jump, nothing too taxing, I hope, and we'll get the ship to a point where we will be able to make it easily enough, I hope. But Carabash did a right number on the down belows. So if Elevar is good, I'd say it'll take about an hour to get everything ready, and once that's done, and he's available and you're available, we can jump.
Okay. I'm going to leave Elevar for a little while. I'll let you guys continue with your repairs. I'm going to leave him sit with his brother for a little while. I'm going to make my way down to the, I don't know, what did you call, was it the control room or wherever the seats
Yeah, the
are?
helm room. The helm room.
The helm room.
Yeah.
And just to, I suppose, connect with the space in Elevar's absence.
Okay.
Zill is going to meditate and then do a lap of the room doing the sword forms that her mum taught her.
Oh,
so
nice.
that she can kind of, it's, if you think about, I don't know, what's popping into my head is there's a sequence in Avatar where Zuko and Aang do the dragon dance around the room. She's doing these sword forms around the room just to kind of quiet her mind and to connect with the ship and see what she can do without Elevar's instruction, just to familiarize herself with the space and all that. So
excellent. I like it. Okay, so you step down into the space and you notice that there's individuals cleaning up, and there's some repair crews, but they kind of give you a wide berth as you come in. And when you start, you walk and you run your hands along the console. You look at that star map that's kind of painted on the ceiling that moves as you move around. You see the stars change and the colors shift, and the helm chairs, the duo helm chairs that are joined together back to back, are kind of just floating, humming. And you can still just make out the slight stain, even though somebody cleaned it. There's a slight blood stain from Carrad as they lay slumped against the chair. And there's a slight blood stain that seems to be just now part of the chair. It's seeped into the wood. And it kind of throws you a bit, but you take the blade out, you start to kind of swing it and move it. And then all of a sudden, naturally, your movement starts. Give me a... See now, what do I want on this now? Give me a... You can either do a performance check, or you can do a acrobatics. So performance or acrobatics check for me, just to see how well you quickly attune to the space as you start to move through the motions of the blade and you try to focus on Alestri. Oh, okay. So it's an 18.
Performance. Yeah.
Nice. So the hum of the engine, that's low and thrumming, you feel the blade thrum as well as it moves, and you can hear the boom, boom, boom. And as you kind of move and dance and twirl yourself and move dexterously through the space, and you thrust out the blade, you kind of feel the humming of both the engine and the blade kind of unify and become one. And as you move around the space and you finish and you end, and you kind of end and the blade is pointed out and it's pointed directly at the chair, and you just feel that arcane energy humming through you and up your arm and into your body as you attune into this space, and you are now fully attuned to the Spelljammer. You're fully in the chair. You can sense the arcane pulse throughout the ship, similar to when you did it before, when you could feel the kind of the energies and the veins of arcane power moving through the vessel. You are now, just without even sitting in the chair, you can just, it's like a tingle at the back of your mind. You can just feel it there. And the blade hums in your hand and it's warm to the touch as it kind of, the warmth feeling moves up your arm. And then you just turn, you sheathe the blade, and it's just that sense of, I know what this does. I know how to use it. Now I just need Elevar.
Cool.
Gray, is there anything you're doing in that hour?
Yes, metalwork.
Okay. So you sit and you take the medallion. And you sit. Where are you centering it on the shield? Are you?
Yeah.
So you take it centered on the shield.
I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah, you scrounge up some metalworking tools from the crew. There are some on board, and you start to work the metal in, and kind of you're in the captain's cabin, and you're kind of sitting there with the star charts piled around you, and the shield is sitting on this large desk. You take the medallion, you take the chain off, and you sit the central piece on it, and you start to kind of meld it in. It's a soft metal and it's very malleable. Give me
my first roll,
just to see how you're doing on this. Give me Whew. I mean, look, you are what you are. Give me a performance check on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I am cosplaying as a handy person.
Yeah.
I'm nimble hands
Oh,
wise.
your hands
Yeah.
definitely start to meld.
I can
the
play
metal.
G11 suspended fourth with some nails retracted, so I think that's all right.
Go for it.
Holy shit. That is let me add two numbers together real quick. I'm so dumb. That's a 30.
30. Literally
I
within
rolled
minutes.
19, I've got plus 11 to performance.
Jesus. So you literally kind of within minutes, you know exactly what you're doing, and with the tools that you've been given, you start to kind of smelt the metal around the edges, carefully but surely, definitely knowing exactly what you need to do. Your time spent with those refugees in the camp, you spoke to smiths that they had, you spoke to other people in the camp about working metals, and you had the conversation, and you retained that knowledge easily, and you just slowly but surely blend this medallion into the shield. Um, and what this does currently, I'll make this part of the mechanic. What this actually does, initially you would have had disadvantage when you equip the shield on your rolls. You no longer have that. You get the bonus from AC on the armor class. So even if you have it equipped, so you no longer roll disadvantage on strength or dexterity checks with the armor worn. So you can, it's marked on D&D Beyond that you have disadvantage on acrobatics, athletics, sleight of hand, and stealth. You no longer have that disadvantage because you've managed to imbue this shield with this ability using your medallion. Okay, and it feels lighter in your hand. Like you pick the shield up and you heft it, and it's like, have I gotten stronger or has this gotten lighter? There seems
The
to be
first 10 pounds are in your head.
and it's just you kind of give it a swish and it feels natural now. And you take out like your knife, your ice dagger, and you're kind of like checking the heft, and you're just standing there by yourself now in the captain's cabin, and you're like, Phew, whoa, phew, whoa. And it's like, okay, this feels more natural. And you put the shield on your back, your loot is tucked nicely behind it, and then you sheathe the ice dagger, and you kind of feel the heft of the way, and it just feels like it's so much lighter, like it's not even there.
Very good.
So that's what
Wayne,
you've
will you
managed
do
to
me a favor?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think you did it. Yeah, you did it. It's fine. I'm looking at an old character sheet. Yeah. There was we were that ice dagger was a homebrew and you've added it. That's fine.
Yes, I've added it.
I knew it was there.
Yeah,
I just happened to have an old character sheet where it was
That's
not
cool.
that.
On the digital one, it's there for sure.
Very
So,
good.
within the hour, that tiefling comes back to you, whose name is Triss, by the way, and she just, well, we've made as much repairs as we can with the equipment we have here. The ship will do short distance hops, nothing major. It will require the two pilots. It may creak a bit, but it's the best we can do with what we have. And she informs both of you of that.
Okay, so I guess I'll go get Elevar and we'll get started. Are you okay, Gray?
Yeah. If I can help with you guys, I will.
Okay. So you go down into the hold, and Helavar's still there where you left him. You walk in, and he's more present, and he looks up and sees you, and he's like, well, what's the plan?
So we are going to jump to a relatively nearby ship graveyard so that we can scavenge what we need to get you and Carrot back to Arconia Prime so that you can give him the proper farewell.
Verconia Prime is the name of my home planet. Verconia.
Sorry.
VER.
Yeah.
CO.
Yeah.
NIA. Verconia Prime.
I just heard it wrong.
That's okay. It happens. We're doing it on recording. It happens. We're not in person.
Yes. So we're going to get you home. We're going to repair the ship so that we can get you guys home. I have spent some time in the helm. I'm hoping that will help. So if you could come with me, we can make a start. Triss has assured me they've done everything they can possibly do by way of repair at this point. So the next step is to get to the graveyard.
Yes. Okay. And he kind of slowly stands up and kind of just knocks on the table. Doesn't look at his brother's body, but just nods and then makes a move to move out of the hold, slowly but surely, and goes up onto the deck with you, and then heads towards the helm. In the helm room, the two is like he straps himself in and kind of just gestures to you to grab the other chair. You see, he doesn't look down. He doesn't look at the floor. He doesn't look at where his brother's body was. He just head up straight, looks straight at the chair, sits in it, straps himself in, sits back, and waits for you to jump in the other chair.
Okay, I'm going to get myself situated and say, listen, whatever you need me to do, I'm ready. Just tell me what you need.
You'll feel a sensation. I know you've done this before. You'll feel that sensation of us joining, our minds connecting. It may be unpleasant, just to remind you. Given my current emotional state, I will try to keep myself centered, but depending on how that goes, it may take some time for us to get this bucket moving. So please bear with me. And he kind of sits back and closes his eyes. And I'm going to roll for him for a second because I want to check something with him.
Can I cast Bardic Inspiration, Wayne?
You can stand in the room, and if you're in the room, you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you inspiring them?
I am going to just deliver a little speech along the lines of, you both know what you're doing, you're both highly competent, and you can do this, and you can do this for your brother, and totes a moat. Very, very musical theatre speech at a party.
Okay. All right. So,
yeah.
Just roll.
Where it's somebody else's birthday. You know, the usual, just too much.
That's an 18 from him. So he settles into the chair, and Zil, you feel as you close your eyes and kind of rest yourself into it, you feel yourself sinking into the chair, and you feel the hum as the dual chairs rise slightly, and there's an automatic connection to his mind, and you see him in your mind's eye, and he sees you, and he rolled quite well, so the connection is straight away. There's no real turmoil there.
Okay.
Can you roll me an intelligence check, please?
Sure.
Both dice have deserted you, Zil. You're just gonna have to go for it.
I know. Yeah, go first. Do the thing. Why would you roll? There we go.
There we go. 10.
Whoa,
Okay.
10.
That is
Great.
exactly what you needed. That was the DC. It was a 10. So you managed to connect in, and he sees you in his mind's eye, and there is that connection. There is a brief flash, and you see a moment of pain, a very brief moment of pain, as you see the image of Carad being run through by Carabash. Just briefly, and it's gone. As soon as it happened, it's gone. And your mind kind of twitches a bit, but you kind of recenter yourself. Gray, as you're standing there, you feel the hum of the ship below your feet start to grow, and the energy, the arcane symbols around the room and the helm space, they build, and there's a glow in the area, and you look up and you see that the map above your head is starting to spin as the coordinates from Zilzara and Elevar's mind are entered into the helm itself, and you can see that the map is moving, and then you see the symbol that represents the graveyard is center. Zil, in your mind, then you feel Elevar kind of push at the back of your mind, and it's like you're kind of now outside the ship. It's like it's third person perspective in a video game. You're at the back of the ship and you're flying it, and you can see the kind of the void around you. Off in the distance, you see the Temple of Duality, the ruined kind of temple that you've left behind, as it's kind of floats there in space, and the ship is waiting for your instructions to move. You literally just have to think it with Elevar together to move the ship and jump to the coordinates that you're aiming at.
Okay, so I'm gonna visualize the map that Tris showed us earlier, and kind of zoom my mind in on that black space. To
The way this
hopefully propel us forward.
it's interesting. You start to visualize the map. In the view that you're at, looking outside the ship, you see it. You actually see the void, and it's if the map is overlaid on the void in your mind's eye, and it's like a heads up display as such. But the kind of the stars move around, and you can look off. You look off to your right per se, and you can see where that distant black mark is, and the ship gradually but surely starts to turn towards it. And within seconds, then Gray, as you move through the ship, if you're moving onto the deck, are you doing anything? You staying in the room, or what are you doing?
I want to watch this whole thing, just in case.
So you're staying in the helm room.
Yeah.
So you feel the kind of the deck lurch slightly as the ship shudders and moves to one side, and then it hangs. And it's like somebody catching their breath before a deep dive into a pool, as it kind of like that expectancy of waiting for it to happen, and then the ship goes into a brief, short hyperspace jump, and you kind of are jolted a bit because it's not as smooth as you're used to. Previously on the ship, it's been literally the deck wouldn't move, the ship wouldn't shake, but the ship in its current state, it's damaged, and it's a bumpy ride, a full-on bumpy ride, and you feel a kind of the shudder. There's like the deck plating, any loose kind of tools that were left around are shaking, and in the chair, Zil, you feel it yourself. You're kind of the void is kind of racing past your mind, and the ship is teetering towards its destination, and it takes a few minutes, like it's about a good 15-minute journey, and you're starting to feel that dizziness where you're just waiting for it to end in your mind. And Gray, you're kind of trying to bolster yourself. You lean and put your hand against the console on the wall as to keep yourself upright, as the ship is starting to shake more drastically. Zil, I need you to do another Arcana check for me, please. Actually, no, make it not an Arcana check. Sorry, do an Intelligence saving throw, please. So an Intelligence save. I'm gonna do one for. Okay. Right. An 18. Just as the ship is coming to the height of its speed in transit, you see Elevar's mind is two of you kind of joined together. This is the furthest you've traveled in this kind of state. And while you've reached your mind out to the void before, not like this, joined with another being's mental capacity, it's similar to when you're joined with Gray and you have those conversations in your mind, but this is strenuous. You can feel the arcane energies pulsing through you from the helm, from the chair you're sitting in, and you're having to exert yourself heavily, so much so that you now use up 2 level 1 spell slots.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let me just mark them off. Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that something I should expect going forward whenever I help power the ship, or is it just this particular scenario?
It does take spell slots to power a spell jamming helm. It does take a spell slot to do it, but given the state of the ship,
yeah, she's kind of battered at the moment.
It's taking more of your concentration. Yeah, you rolled really well there with an 18.
Okay.
It could have cost you more if you hadn't rolled as well as you rolled. Elevar rolled slightly lower, so he still uses up 2 spell slots, but if he'd gotten even lower than that, it would have cost him more. So he's used up 2 of his first level spell slots. And just as you feel that kind of arcane strain on your mind and on your body, the ship comes out of the hyperspace, and it's straight away you hear outside. You hear the kind of the shouting as something then collides slightly with the ship. There's like a boom, and the ship shakes again. And there's like a couple of small collisions with the ship. And Gray, you kind of catch yourself trying to stop. Gray, give me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Remember, not
we
with
have debris.
Okay, that's 10.
10. Did you roll a 10 on the dice?
No, I rolled a 3 on the dice. I got +7.
Okay, so 10. You try to catch yourself as you stumble and you fall to one knee, as the ship rocks from the collisions, And you hear shouting out on the deck from the crew. Zilzara, you come around, and Elevar comes around as the ship has now come out of the hypersleep, and you open your eyes, and you also sense the rocking as the chair you're in starts to move back and forth a bit as it hovers there. What are you doing in this moment?
I'm gonna ask Elevar, like, what is that? Did we hit something?
Something hit us, and you kind of hear the strain in his voice, as he kind of like there's a frustration there, like something hit us. The re-entry was not smooth. Forgive me, I'm still getting used to this. It's a new mind, connecting with mine that hasn't happened before. Yes,
that's understandable.
It sounds like like asteroid strike or debris of some sort. Yeah. And he kind of sits up in the chair and moves forward and goes to stand up, and is a bit wobbly on his feet as he does so.
I'm gonna get up and go head towards the deck to check it out to see if there's anything we can do.
Gray, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go out to the crew.
Okay, so the two of you kind of head out. Alavar is kind of trailing behind a bit, but the two of you head out, and as you go out onto the deck, you are met with an unbelievable sight. Yes, there is debris and flotsam here just battering each other and hitting the ship, but the side in front of you is something you've never seen before. It is a vast expanse of derelict spelljamming ships of different shapes and sizes that take up your entire view. The void is a swirl of light and color, dark purples and blues, as they kind of all congregate and swirl, and they are moving. You look as your eyes follow this outer ring of ships that are very similar in size to the Silver Spear. These will be kind of like the different types of spelljamming ships that you're not aware of. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here for this. We have corvettes, which are what the Silver Spear is, fast, lightweight types of ships. But as your eyes kind of trail inwards on this, you see that the ships get bigger and bigger. You've got frigates, you've got cruisers, and this goes on and on and on for leagues of space. Like, it's just as a massive void. This is a huge ship graveyard that's just floating here. And just off in the distance, give me both of you, give me a perception check, please, as you're taking all of this in.
7. What the fuck is up with me?
17.
17.
Thanks, Sil.
You see, like, Gray, you're looking and you're flabbergasted by all of this. Like, you see all these wrecks that are swirling, dead ships in space, and you're trying to take it all in. And Zil, your eyes are drawn directly to what seems to be the center of this maelstrom. Off in the distance, there's no sound, obviously, outside of your sphere, because there's no oxygen, there's nothing to kind of move the sound through. But you just see these small flashes of energy off in the distance. And right at the center is this monstrosity of something you've never seen before. This is a Titan class spelljammer ship. At least, like, these ships are like 700 tons. It is massive. Both of you can give me a history check if you wish.
Yeah.
20.
Ooh,
Dirty
not
20.
20. Not 20.
Dirty 20.
30 20.
10.
20. Okay. So, Gray, you remember from talking to crew members throughout your travels here on the Spear and even at the Flotsam, they talked about the different types of ships, and like Titans are rare nowadays. The most common ships are corvettes and frigates, for most part with pirates. But the Titan ships are ships of ancient history and also myth and legend. As you look up, as Zil draws your attention to it, you look up and see this ship, and it is enormous. Even at this distance, it eclipses the Spear. These ships were known to be the central pieces of large kind of flotillas, large kind of groupings of ship, or large kind of fleets that would have flown through the void, be it pirates, be it kind of large conglomerates. But this one, as it looms in its dead and dark space in the center, it looks like all of the other ships are orbiting around it, like it's the center of this graveyard. It's so big, it is generating its own gravity. That's
Oh
how
my
big this
god.
ship is. And all of these other ships are floating around it, orbiting it like small moons. And they get bigger and bigger as it goes closer and closer to the ship. So the smaller ones are able to kind of hover on the kind of the exterior, and then bigger and bigger ships go in with this Titan class ship at the center. And it is vast and imposing. And you look around, and you see bits of debris floating in and out, moving in and out of your sphere. Anything that moves into the sphere of the ship and the gravity of the ship, it kind of goes in, and then you see parts of it starting to drop onto the deck. And you look, and it's a smorgasbord of ships that you have to choose from to try and salvage anything you can to rebuild the spear.
Is
But
there
that-
any temptation amongst the crew to? Well, no, we can't. We can't. Like this, the silver spear is very significant, but it's really eye catching.
What do you
And
mean?
if
Like, what are you going for?
well, we stole. Well, it was stolen.
Yeah.
So there is no interest among the crew in trying to switch vehicles entirely. Is there anyone making a case for switching vehicles entirely now that it's been trashed?
Nobody has said anything. Like, the ship is still moving. Nobody has said anything to you directly. If you want to gauge, hang on, I've got a Charlie horse. My leg.
What happened? You got a cramp?
Yeah, I got a cramp.
Oh, walk it off and get some water.
Hang on. Oh, my leg. I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, it's dehydration mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so
Very good.
Wayne, what was the name of the little small vehicles we used, kind of like our little pods to get from the ship to
gadabouts.
places?
The gadabouts.
Gadabouts.
Gadabouts. There we go.
Good name.
Very good.
We were just thinking about whether we need to use the gadabouts to zip from the silver spear to the various
Or if they're still there.
if they're still there, to get to the various ships that we can
You would do,
salvage
yeah.
parts off.
You just have, like, there's gadabouts on all Spelljammer ships. They're generally used for that type of transit, so they're part of the thing. So
And they weren't smashed up.
no. So you had some on yous getting from
Yeah.
the Temple of Duality to back to the ship. So he's at least had three of those, because the two of you had some, and
Yeah.
then Brennan had one. But then also,
Yeah.
there's other ones there. They haven't been destroyed. No, that's viable.
Okay.
So yeah, so like as you see here, like if you're looking to suss out the crew, Kim, to see if they're thinking about jumping ship, mutiny, or anything like that, give me an insight check overall. You can give me an
Okay.
insight check on the
Because
crew. that's no problem.
the fact that it's taken so much out of Zill to pilot,
Yeah,
and the silver spear has such a unique flying mechanism. I presume all of these ships here are totally fucked up, but
yeah.
It might be less distinctive. But I think if we lost Mingna's ship, she'd probably be pretty annoyed. You asked me to roll insight.
Insight.
You want me to help with that?
That's a 14. That's respectable.
That's good. Yeah,
That is
No,
respectable.
so the crew right now don't seem to be in any way, because there's quite a small enough crew. There's only about 9 of them,
Right.
and they don't. They're not confident enough in themselves after all they've been through to kind of guide the ship the way they have. They're very much, given their circumstances of them leaving Mingna's father's kind of fleet and
Yeah.
escaping from that with her, trying to get away from that particular type of lifestyle for pirates. They're not confident enough in themselves right now to want to be the crew that run this ship. They
Okay.
think you're right though in thinking that the ship with that role, but you know yourself as well. You kind of suss this out. The spear is very, as you say, it's not an inconspicuous ship. It's very recognizable. As soon as you
Okay.
pulled into the flotsam, people knew what it was.
Yeah.
So, but the ships around you here, complete wrecks. But it's the hope of salvage parts from whatever, because there's so many. There's hundreds upon hundreds of derelict ships here. That yes, some of them probably have been stripped clean, but there are chances that are pieces in there that you could find to help get the ship back to a kind of a a level of functionality that would get you to at least Verconia Prime, and then you can
Okay.
take it from there if there's any repairs required elsewhere. Um, so yeah, so like that's what you kind of glean from the last couple of hours with the crew, with the travel, and then also landing in here, looking at their faces now on the deck as they all look around. One or two, like Triss in particular, and Merrick are looking, and they have a kind of a stoic look. They've seen stuff like this before. They're old hands, but some of the younger members of the crew are like, Jesus, what the
What do we
fuck,
do?
you
Okay.
know? So you see this in front of you. The ship itself, the Silver Spear, is on the edge of the graveyard. The debris that's been kind of clambering into you is small little clumps, nothing major, nothing vast. There is a bit of a distance between the outermost ring of the ships, and if you want to try and take it in, you can give me one or two things. You can give me a perception or an investigation check to see how you kind of look at the area that's there now, and does it give you a better idea of what the next course should be to proceed.
Okay. I'm going to go up to. Let me see. Do I suspect Triss is good on technical?
Triss seems
stuff?
to be taking on most of the engineering pieces
Yeah.
here.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna go up to Triss.
Yeah.
And I am going to open-heartedly offer my help. Confess that I'm not the best with engineering, but I'm dexterous and not bad at locating objects, and um and if there's a job I can do that would be helpful, be it scavenging to a list or staying here and coordinating, like ticking off a checklist,
Triss
whatever
is
she would
so
need from
Ray is
me.
going to approach Chris. Triss, even Triss. So Triss is like kind of like taking it all in, sees you approach, and kind of gives you a nod. And there's a kind of there's a question mark behind it, but not too much. Like, Captain.
Uh, um, I can help. I coordinated with Ming-Na before. It's very uncomfortable for Gray to just go, yes, Captain, yes.
Yeah.
So, but I know that they might need that. So I'm like, yeah, so anything I can do, despite my lack of engineering knowledge, I can do. Would you like me to coordinate things back here if you need to go?
Triss kind of looks between you and Merrick kind of like coughs a bit and clears his throat. Well, Captain, what we might suggest would be maybe gathering crew and arranging search groups, either armed with gadabouts or maybe flying the ship closer, which might be a bit more disastrous. But
Yeah.
gadabouts, definitely, small groups, and maybe try and investigate the outer rings first, with the hope of not having to move too far into the center to find any salvage.
Yeah, I agree.
I could, Triss, could we arrange for that? For maybe put a senior member with a small group, like there's between ourselves, and there's at least 9 other crew members. That would at least allow for 3 groups searching, maybe even 4, depending on ourselves taking a group of 2 each, or forming a group ourselves and traveling out. Do we have enough gadabouts to cover that? And Triss kind of does maths in her head a bit. I do believe. Yeah, we could probably leave maybe 2 or 3 here on the ship. I don't think Elevar is up for venturing out. And she kind of looks back behind. You see Elevar standing in the doorway from the helm room, and he's kind of taking this all in. He's kind of leaning against the kind of the door frame, kind of looking up and looking around him. I'm happy to lead up a crew. Take it by segments. Maybe, and she kind of gestures and say, this section here, small crew, this section here, and kind of gestures to different sections of the front ring of ships. And then she starts calling other crew members to start getting gadabouts ready for the crew, and they start bustling and moving around. So within a couple of minutes, there are small groups gathered on deck, and gadabouts are handed out to everyone. You are handed yours, and you feel the kind of it's not so much it's a fleshy substance with a few kind of wooden and metal bits embedded in it. As you remember using it, it just straps to your back, and then that bubble forms over your head to allow you to breathe out in the void. And it gives you the wings, then expand out, and it kind of flutters you along. So that seems to be the plan amongst the group to start salvaging and start setting up things. So what do the two of you want to do? Do you want to go together? Do you want to take a group each? What way do you want to handle it?
I want to go to the Titan.
I want to go to there.
I want to go to there, but I'm willing to override my primal urges. But I do tell Zil what that thing is.
Okay. It is kind of like it's right in the middle of the kind of the debris field you were saying, Wayne. Like
it's very far away. You'd have
everything is revolving around it. So I'm going to say to Gray, as much as I would also like to see it and satisfy your curiosity, I think for once we need to be sensible and prioritize prioritize getting the parts we need. It's also a long ways away. Like maybe we can do a little shimmy over once we get our parts and repair the ship, rather than trying to make the distance in gadabates. Or also, it is a prime target for a booby trap, and that's just me being a suspicious drow.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, I know there's no sense in that. It's just,
it's pretty though.
I never thought I'd see one, but then, then I did. So that's good.
And just as Gray's curiosity is peaking, you look up both, and you can just see the flashes in the void with the Titan silhouetted by it, and it's like it is inviting in a way, because it is the gravitational pull. It literally is the gravitational center of this space.
But curiosity is good for cats. I read that. It's fine.
What propaganda were you reading?
Oh yeah. So where are you going, Zil? Are you going? Do you know what you're looking for? I the fact that I don't know what I'm looking for is keeping me away from the search object.
I don't really know what I'm looking for, and
so as the two of you are saying this, Triss arrives up with a list, kind of scrolls, starts handing out these scrolls to the group.
Oh, nice one, Triss.
Nice.
Right. Well, we're looking for arcane crystals. Anything that is arcane in nature that we can siphon energy from.
Oh.
Any weaponry that you might come across, be it large or small. Remember, we can. It's the vastness of space. Nothing's going to weigh anything, so it can be easily pushed by a small group.
Can I use my? So if we're looking for arcane crystals, presumably for like power sources and stuff.
Yeah.
Can I use my crystal like a kind of metal detector for
divining
other
rod
crystals?
thing.
A divining rod. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, like, is that something that the rules in this universe adhere to? Like, can I focus on that and use it to detect other? Because I did have detect magic, and I forgot that spell.
Yeah, me
I learned
too. I had it too. We did not.
I learned something else, and it pushed that one out of my brain.
Yeah, I also had locate object, and I changed my mind at some point, so that was clever.
I just wanted all the murdery spells. You see, that's my problem.
This is a new day. If you want, you knew you were going to have to do this. If you want to look at your spells and look to arrange your spells in a way that may facilitate you doing this, I'll allow it, because you are going to have to go out there and search, and you would know, right, we're going to be doing this today.
Yeah.
This is what's required. I'm going to prepare what I require for this. So there'll be an allowance there if you want to prepare detect magic, if you want to prepare locate objects, so on and so forth.
You're very good to us, Wayne.
He is,
very good to us. Yes.
Don't say that now. You don't know what you're going to find out there. So
that's true.
This is also true.
You may detect magic and detect fucking horrible shit. So
I'm going to get a detect magic. I'm going to archive Mage Hand for the time being, and I'm going to equip detect magic, because
Okay.
I feel it would be more useful. There was and I'll pick the legacy one. Yeah.
Legacy one, yes. So for folks who are wondering, we're using D&D Beyond. We're not using the new rules. We're using these 5e rules. So because of that, we're using the legacy stuff on D&D Beyond, so we know what we're looking at.
They got new rules. They got new
Okay. So, you're all standing on the deck, and Triss gives you the listings of what they believe to be required tools and elements that are needed to repair the ship to a level where you can do longer trips. And it's an extensive enough list. You see different things like arcane crystals, all magic items of anything of magical item nature.
Yeah.
There is a requirement for lumber and that type of stuff, and that stuff is readily available. So there's a crew that are dedicated to gathering that stuff from like the main debris of ships, stuff that's relevant and can be used. Plenty of that around. So that's easy
Right.
to find, and there's a crew of 3 crew members that have already lifted off from the spear and are out into the void and are starting to move debris in and gather it in on the ship on the far end of the deck. But now there's now the outer ring in front of you. Teams have divided it up into a couple of different quadrants. Now the question is that are you going together, or are you going with 2 separate individuals? And who do you want to take with you?
Oh, right. So, Zill, what do we think? I mean,
I see the merit in us leading a group each, but there's also this little voice in the back of my head saying never divide the party.
and I am, do you remember when Nelson and Martin were friends in The Simpsons? So I'm skipping. I have a tendency to skip down the street singing Martin's song. Hail to the tale of Nelson and the boy he loves so dear. So, that's how I feel about you. So, I mean, I don't want to leave you, but I never want to leave you. But also, I think we could be useful as 2 important characters in 2 different groups.
So it's like if you want to stick together, that's fine. That's
Okay.
not a problem. So Triss was like, "Right, I'm going to take these 2. We're going to go take the left-hand section here, these 2 quadrants." And she kind of gestures off into a section over here, and you see that she's hefted her 2 belt on, and she's come with different accoutrements, and she has her gadabout on, and there's now a large warhammer on her belt. And she kind of steps up and she gestures to the 2 others. Merrick is standing there on the deck, looking at the 2 of you sheepishly, going, "Well, I suppose I'm going with you 2. Handy to have a medic along, I guess." Ha ha. Excellent.
Is Alavar staying with the ship?
Alavar's already turned back and gone down into the hull.
Oh yeah, he's like, fuck this shit.
He's like, he's not. He's looked at everyone doing their thing and just turned on his heel and fucked off down.
Listen, he gets a pass.
Yeah. So,
by the way, if proof were needed, how the Grey is definitely ace, because any of Kim's horny characters would be stuck to Triss by now. But Grey is just unsearchable. He's such a sweetie. So we're just I just have to listen to those descriptions and get Kim not to react to them.
So Merrick is kind of gingerly kind of messing with the straps of his gadabout and kind of looking a bit nervous. And he does have if you look at him and you take him in really for the first time, you notice one thing about him is that he doesn't really have any weapons at all. He has he has leather armor that looks good. It's a nice, intricate leather armor that is adorned on his and it's like long sleeved, kind of a coat with a tail on it. A tail's on the back of it. Leather pants. The coat itself looks thick and well designed with beautiful, intricate designs on it. He's got a couple of rings on his fingers.
Bells on his toes.
Bells on his toes as well. He's very much. You get the sense now, Merrick is not a fighter. He is a pure out and out healer. This dude is support staff only. Like he's
Right.
looking around
Yeah.
going, I'll help as best I can. And I can move things and I can sense some magical items if needs be. Just put me to work, I suppose. I'm not used to being the one out and about. This would be exciting. And when he says exciting, you see it's more in the back of your mind. You're kind of going, this guy is shitting himself.
Right.
He is shitting himself.
Exciting.
So he kind of gingerly is, it's like a nervous kid on the first day of school as he's hoisting his gadabout on, and he's like, okay, deep breaths, and the bubble then goes around, and he's, it kind of gives him a bit of a surprise, and he's like, oh yes, this is required. Yes, and he then gingerly moves towards the edge of the edge of the deck where the entrance and exit section is, where the gangplank will go down, and he kind of looks at the two of you expectantly. I guess we're going on this section. He kind of points over to the right-hand side of the first circle of ship.
Okay.
What do the two you want to do at this moment? Do you want to use your detect magic, or do you want to wait till you're in there? Or
how close are the nearest wrecks?
it's a couple of 100 feet away. You're going to take a bit of a jump and a bit of a travel.
Okay.
So it's probably not.
Yeah, I'll need to get closer to use detect magic.
Yeah, I'm hoping to just be able to feel arcane power as I go around.
Okay. Right, so let me see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you stepping out into the void?
Yes.
Okay. The three of you kind of jump in unison off the side of the ship, and the gadabouts engage, and the wings start to flutter. And you hear the sound of them until you breach the sphere bubble of the ship itself, and then there's just silence. And you're gently but surely floating through the void and trying to avoid parts of the debris. There's a clear enough path for the most of it. You're kind of moving yourself over large chunks of debris that kind of tumbles off into the distance as you weave and duck and dive through this area. And you look behind, and Merrick is following close enough behind on the two of you. It takes you a good 15 to 20 minutes to get close enough to the first couple of ships that are swirling, and you see some of them. They're very similar in size to the silver spear, but of different configurations. Some of them are insect-like in shape. Some of them have large kind of wingspan pieces out the side, long tendril sections that are cleaved in sections as well. It's a huge smorgasbord of ships here, lots of different types. And as you come close to the first batch, both of you can do your detect magic if you wish. You can do an arcana check. If you want to do detect object or whatever, Gray, go nuts. Just what do you want to do in this moment as you come closer to the first couple of sets?
I would like to do an arcana check.
That's what I was
kind
gonna do
of get a
too.
feel for stuff, and then see if that gives us allows us to kind of take a more precise direction.
Gray, if you want to help Zilzara can roll with advantage, or the both of you can roll. It's up to yourselves what you want to do.
Yeah, I want to do an arcana check too.
So both of you roll there. Give me an arcana check just to see if you can sense any ship that nearby that would have currently active. Because a lot of them are these are all dead ships.
Yeah.
So
I got 14 there.
What did you get? Sorry.
14.
Okay.
So I need to move the Zoom window. Ooh, 22.
22.
22.
Zil,
I rolled a 19 and I've got a +3.
Nice. So, Zil, you kind of get a sense of something, but there's no zoning in. And Gray has moved slightly ahead. And Gray, as you kind of push yourself off a piece of debris and you rock and roll under the hull of one particular ship, pushing yourself along with the gadabout wings fluttering. And as you push yourself past one small dead corvette, you come up and around and you see in the orbit of it, there's another one that is an elongated, it looks like a long tube of such that tapers on both ends. And there are large fans out the tail of it. 3 of them, 2 at the side and 1 at the top. The masts are bent and broken, but you notice that with that check, as you kind of stretch out your senses and you move closer to it after coming out from underneath the belly of the other ship, you can see that there's definitely, as it slowly rotates, there's like an arcane pulse coming from the base of it. You can't necessarily tell exactly what it is, but there's definitely something there within that particular ship. And Zilzara, you kind of push in and get the edge of that sense, but Gray seems to be kind of beelining in that general direction. and there definitely seems to be something over in that space.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna call a nerd over.
And Merrick kind of follows up behind, not too far behind, and you see him kind of trying to keep up with the both of you. As you are definitely moving through this area. There doesn't seem to be any danger here yet.
Okay.
So what are you doing in this moment?
Yeah,
I'm
I
following
am going.
Gray.
Sorry, I'm gonna call someone with engineering power and tell them I think we got something here.
Well, I mean, it's just the three of you in this space, in this quadrant. Its responsibility is on you three to retrieve stuff. So they're all off doing
We
their
have nobody technical with us. How
the
did this
three of
happen?
you. It's the three of you.
What are we gonna do? We may as well be looking up a cow's hole.
You were given a list of stuff that you had to look
Yes,
for. Arcane
but-
nature.
But I don't know what this stuff is.
Well, you just rolled a 22 Arcana check. You can check and see. You have abilities. You have powers.
Okay, anything that's humming arcanely is going in the bag.
Pretty much. That's what you're asked to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a
So-
bag of holding as well.
Yeah.
We do. So I'm gonna ask Merrick if let me see. I'm gonna ask Merrick if this looks helpful. Can I roll investigation?
So are you going towards this particular ship? Are you going to land
Yeah.
on this derelict
Yep.
ship? Okay. So
Yep.
you head towards it, Gray. You touch down on its deck. You can give me, just as you land slightly, give me actually no, you're okay. You land because the gadabout's keeping you stable. This ship is rotating slowly, and you kind of these are dead ships. So there's no sphere of
Right.
gravity. There's no sphere of oxygen. You land in, and it's just you're having to right yourself on this deck as it slowly rotates, and you're moving back and forth. And as
I'm
you
just
land
behind you.
Yeah, as you land in, Zilzara comes in behind you, and then Merrick lands gingerly as well. And all three of you are kind of catching yourselves on this slowly but surely rolling ship. Give me an investigation check, please. Anyone that wants to.
I did.
Okay.
I rolled a 19.
Okay.
Very
19,
good.
I roll.
I'm gonna leave it to Zill. My roll was dog shit.
Merrick got a 12. So Merrick's trying to right some Gray. As you land, you catch yourself against one of the broken masts, and you're kind of more focused on kind of righting yourself upright. And then Merrick kind of tries to peek over Zilzar, but Zilzar, you take in the deck, and it's like a hodgepodge of destroyed areas. Lots of the dirt and debris, and there's no bodies or anything. You don't see anything like that. Any weaponry that's there has been completely stripped out. There's holes where catapults and kind of ballista would be. And you see at the back of it, this long kind of tube shape has a very long, thin deck. And at the back, you see kind of a cabin area that have two large doors, not too dissimilar to the configuration of the spear. And with that investigation roll, you can see that you kind of like one of the doors is broken off its hinge and hanging inward. So it's like you can see a darkened space inside, and the other one is closed shut. And there seems to be kind of debris blocking that door.
Okay. I can't see through the open door. I've got Whopper dark vision for 120 feet.
Yeah, you can. You can see through the door, and inside you can see kind of like furniture, kind of broken to one side. There's nothing of kind of nothing jumping out at you straight away from this distance, but you can see into the room. It is dark. You can see shapes. You can see broken furniture and kind of broken beams of wood and stuff, but there's nothing jumping out at you with that roll.
Okay, but that's the direction we need to go.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I don't mind taking point and heading that way.
You skip ahead on the deck. The gadabout keeping you thing, but you're like, it's that sense of weightlessness as you move along. Are you going towards the open door?
Yeah.
Okay. You move along past Gray. Gray is kind of riding themselves up, and they stand up, and Merrick starts to kind of gingerly follow behind, and you kind of go up towards the doorway and peek in. Roll me an investigation, please. Or perception, whatever's better.
What is better? They're the same. Nope, perception's better. 10.
10.
Yeah, garbage.
Okay. You kind of step in and you kind of try to scan the room, and there's a lot of dirt and dust here that's kind of like just floating and there's bits of debris floating, and you push past it. And as you push past it, you don't hear anything, obviously, because it's devoid of space, but you see something move in the back of the room. Like there's like something round, like a ball or something. You can't really make it out. It's there in the darkness, and it's like you just see a boom.
I don't like this, she says aloud. There is something in here. I might. Yes, I am going to. Because they're nice and glowy, I am going to throw 3 magic missiles and aim for the wall at the far end to see if it lights up things and illuminates things a little bit. I don't like that face he's making, Kim.
Are you aiming?
You gotta, like, the funny thing is, whenever we do something, he goes, no, you don't see anything with that roll. And you're like, fuck's sake.
I'm gonna have to do a thing, and it's gonna
like
bite
jazz,
me in the ass.
you have to. It's the notes he's not playing.
Yeah.
So are you aiming? So are you aiming near the thing that you saw move?
So yeah. So
you break crystals, you're in trouble, Zill.
I know. I don't want to hit the thing that I saw move necessarily.
Okay.
What I want to do is hit something solid like a wall or a pillar with my magic missile that will yes, obviously it'll create a bit of just actually I have 3 bolts, so I want to throw them into the room to kind of illuminate it a bit and also scare the thing that's in there rather than necessarily kill it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they just automatically fire out. So you're coming up behind Zill, Grey, and you just see Zill stretch out her hand, and the arcane light just crackles outwards. There's no sound. It's just like, and you see these 3 bolts go into this room and illuminate it, and there's a blinding flash. And Zill, what you see in the darkness are these small, like kind of, there's 3 of them in total throughout the room. One that you saw move was behind the desk area that now moves out with a blast. You don't hear any sound again, but you see this movement. They look like large balls, rubber balls, with multiple eyes all over them. Their skin is like yellowy with a purple top, and there's 2 clawed feet at the bottom of these balls, and they all 3 of them in the space jump all in unison as these magic missiles collide in and start boom, and they kind of all move towards you in unison in the doorway, writhing and bobbing, the eyes moving and twitching in unison. I need you to roll initiative, please.
Okay. Oh, and in case it makes any difference, those 3 bolts did 2 damage each.
That's fine. No, they
wherever
kind of,
they
the
hit.
wood in the room splinters, and there's like explosions, and you just see the kind of bursts outwards, floating and kind of twisting, and you see this furniture's upended, and these 3 balloon-looking things, ball-looking things with legs, all kind of float and jump out at you. So I'm going to roll initiative for them in unison, and then I roll for Merrick. Okay, all right. And for Merrick, that's quite good.
I got 14.
Nice.
Zill. No, Jill. Jill.
Yes.
Yes.
You know the lad on Instagram that does the feature, welcome to I'm Rich Your Paw. You know that guy?
Yeah, I'm Rich Your
Paw. You know when
he
does the bit about bally ice. Oh, you're making bally ice.
I haven't seen that one.
As soon as I'll send it to you, but as soon as I was like, these are bally eyes.
Bally eyes.
Bally eyes. Bally eyes.
Bally
eyes.
Or that's what I'm gonna hear if somebody talks about getting balayage on their hair. Even your man actually has been. Balayage. I've been watching him do the reviews of the red carpets. Oh, it's nice.
Oh, you can wear that.
Oh, you can wear that.
You're rich.
Oh, what's
you
this?
You can't because
you're
a pavo.
Dress on a dress. Why is there a dress on another dress? Anyway, sorry.
So, Jill, you got 14. Gray,
I did.
What did you roll? Gray, what did you roll for initiative?
What did I roll for? Oh, you said everyone roll initiative. Okay. Oh, good. That suits my readiness level. I rolled 8.
An 8. Okay. So, Jill, you're going first. Merrick is going
Of course I
second.
am.
And the goon balloons, which is what they are,
Goon balloons.
goon balloons will be going next, followed by Grey.
How many of them were there? Did you say 3?
There's 3 of them in total.
Sorry, just making
You know,
a
that's what
note of
Elon
it.
Musk calls his fans.
Do not bring up that scumbag at all.
No,
Ever.
we will not.
Please.
Okay. Goon balloons. Tell them I love them. Tell them I love them.
They are all kind of piling towards you at once, Zil. So what are you doing? It's now your turn.
Oh, magic missile again. Only at level 2, so I'll have a few more darts.
Okay. They automatically hit. Are you doing one each, or darts each, or what are you doing?
Sorry, hang on one second. My spell page is going all over the place. So yeah, so it'll be 4 darts. So what I'd like to do is put 2 darts in the nearest one, and then the other 2 one each.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna roll manual dice.
Yeah, roll your damage.
For me darts. That's 4, 2. Why do I pick such pretty fucking dice that are so hard to read? Okay, so the one in the front got 7 damage.
Okay.
The next one got 4, and the next one got 2.
2. The one in the front, the 2 darts hit it, and it explodes.
Oh God.
I need you to make a. I need to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please, Zilzara.
Bollocks.
As the darts hit it, you see it go. It expands, and then as
18.
18. This noxious gas ruptures outwards. You passed. You did it. Yeah, you got it. You managed to not be poisoned by the.
Is everybody else all right?
It's only within a 10-foot radius, and they're not close to it yet. So
Okay.
the other two take the hits, but they don't explode. They're knocked back as they kind of move towards you.
Okay, I'm gonna yell at the other 2. Careful, these guys. Careful, these guys spit poison when they explode.
When they explode, it's literally a cloud of it's just like poof, like this cloud of dust reaches out.
How does a cloud work in a vacuum?
It just floats out towards you. It's like it as they explode, it just takes up the area of 10 feet.
Okay.
So the poison cloud sits there. That is the. Is that the end of your go? Is there anything else you want to do?
No, there's nothing else I want to do. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. The next, it's Merrick's go next. He is kind of moving up behind you. You're in the doorway, and he kind of sees that kind of cloud appear, and kind of peers in and sees a bit of the thing. He looks over your shoulder and can see one creature within range of him, and he points his finger, and there's no sound, but he's going to cast Toll of the Dead on one of these goon balloons. But there is no sound, but in the creature's mind, it hears it. It has to make a wisdom saving throw. So a goon balloon is +2 to wisdom, and so let's see how it rolls. It rolled ridiculously well. I rolled a 15 +2, which makes 17. It 17, and the DC was 14. So let me see now. Target must see the wisdom saving throw or take 1d8 necrotic damage. The target is missing any of his hit points. It takes 1d12. So it would have been thing, but it actually succeeds in its saving throw. So it doesn't hear anything in its mind, and it just, you see it quivering for a second, and then it just begins to bounce again as it moves towards you. That is the end of Merrick's go. It's now the goon balloon closest to you is going to move in towards you, Zilzara, because you are the closest to it, and it's going to make 2 claw attacks on you. Okay. So the first attack.
Oh, his feet! Is he gonna fall over? Please fall over.
Feet, yeah. So that is a 17 to hit. Does that hit?
Yeah.
Okay. The first one hits. Second one is probably not going to hit. That is a 12.
No, that.
So the first one hits, you take 1d6 slashing damage. You take 1 point of slashing damage. So it strikes out, and you see this like it's like a chicken foot with 4 talons on it, and it just strikes out at you, catching you across the arm, hitting you for 1 damage. The second goon balloon is gonna move in, and like you're blocking in the doorway with Merrick behind you. So the second
Right.
one is also. It's actually. Let me see now. You see the second one, seeing its fellow balloon move in and slash at you and then not have much of effect. You see the other one quiver and kind of stand in its spot, and its flesh seems to undulate like it's a football expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. And you see the eyes on it start to kind of like there's these. They're like black, like obsidian eyes, or like jewels, and they're all twisting around. They all start to shiver in their sockets. There's about you can see about 8 or 9 of them around its whole body. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please. I'm trying to beat a 12.
16.
16. You manage to succeed. You don't take any damage, but it's like you feel this weird kind of like alien presence trying to push its way into your mind as you focus in on these eyeballs. But you're
Oh, I don't like that.
yeah, your kind of ability of pushing out intrusions in your mind is steeled at this stage, and you push it out. It doesn't. Oh, hang on, on a half as much damage on itself, so you do take damage. So it's 1d12. Where's my d12? Here we go. You take 10 points of psychic. Sorry, 10. No, you take 5 points of psychic damage because it's half as much. As you feel the presence push into your mind, but you manage to push it out. But it's like it scrapes itself on its way out, and your mind. You just start to get this kind of migraine at the back of your head. You take 5 points of psychic damage. That is the end of the goon balloons go. It is now Gray's turn.
Hey, all right. Well, I was planning on going in there slashing and hacking and clawing, but I'm not going to do that now. I am going to try. I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Yeah.
I am going to attempt to sing like Freddie Mercury, and we all know what happens when anybody except Freddie Mercury tries to do that.
Here's the thing right, about Dissonant Whispers.
Yeah.
Whisper a discordant melody that only one creature of your choice within range can hear.
Yeah.
There is no sound in the void. They cannot hear you.
Bro!
Yeah, you can communicate between the gadabouts with each other, but when you're talking out into the void, there is no sound in the void.
Whoa! So should I waste my go? Because I said I was going to do that.
Well, no, as a DM, if I like, if you're gonna cast this, it's not gonna do anything. So,
all right, I'm gonna try and bow and arrow them.
Okay,
I'm gonna aim for Bro, who's nearest to Zil.
Okay.
And
that one's taken 2 points of damage so far.
Very good. I rolled a 19 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And I'm rolling the more. 5
points of damage. You kind of duck in and push Merrick out of the way a bit, and this arrow pierces into it, and the thing just explodes. Again, Zilzara and Merrick are going to have to make saving throws.
Saving throws.
Constitution saving throws.
Sorry, I didn't think it'd reach you guys.
Okay, Merrick makes it anyway.
8.
You are poisoned. So Zilzara, you kind of cough and like as the poison seeps up in through the gadabout's filtration system and moves into your lungs. So you're poisoned. So all ability checks and attacks are affected. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until you are cured from your poison.
Ew.
Okay, so you can put the poisoned status on yourself there now.
I did.
Okay. So is that the end of your go, Gray?
Yeah.
Okay. Zildara, it's back to you. Top of the round. One last goon balloon left.
Okay.
So fun to say.
I am. What am I going to do?
My hands felt like goon balloons.
I am going to just do a sorcerer's burst cantrip.
Okay.
Cast it at will. So I'm casting sorceress energy at the one remaining goon balloon. It's a range attack roll against the target. On a hit, it takes 1d8 damage of a type I choose.
Okay.
So I think whether they explode, does that depend on the type of spell that's been used against them? Like if I decided to do a psychic attack as opposed to a lightning attack, would they not explode, or do they just explode when they die regardless?
You can give me a nature check if you want to figure that out yourself. They just seem to be, so far they've exploded because they've been killed, but give me a nature check to see if you know if there's anything that will stop them from not exploding.
Oh no, I don't. I got a 4.
No, you just look at them and go, what the hell are these things? They're just like bulbous little creatures. They seem to be filled with poisonous gas. And there's one left and it's moving slowly but surely towards you, its eyes undulating.
Fuck, I tried to do a sorceress burst and I rolled an 8, so I think I missed.
Yeah, that misses, unfortunately.
I'm gonna Misty Step the fuck out of the way.
Boom, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, bam.
Yeah. So you go to shoot the sorcerer's blast, and it kind of careens off into the darkness, into the back of the room, illuminating the space. And you see the balloon kind of waddles and kind of shimmies out of the way, unaffected. And you're like, you look at Merrick, you look at Gray, and then you just Misty Step. Where are you Misty Stepping to?
I am going to Misty Step back about, kind of back out of the room because we were in the doorway, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna Misty Step back behind the other two like a big coward.
Okay, cool. So you bamf behind Gray. You look and you see all of a sudden Zazara's behind you, and the goon balloon is moving up towards Merrick now. At this point, it's now Merrick's turn, if I'm not mistaken. No, is it the goon balloon's turn? Oh no, I've lost my initiative order. Where's it gone? Feck. Let's just say it's Merrick's turn. I can't remember. There's one goon balloon left. Merrick is going to turn and he's going to move back as well because he's not in range of this guy, so he's not in combat range. And he is going to, let me see now. He's just going to take a step back and do the same again. He is going, but one thing he's going to do guiding bolt on the goon balloon as he takes a step back. So he's going to take an attack on it. That is a natural 1. That is a natural fucking 1. As Merrick steps, he kind of stumbles backwards looking like, oh, and he kind of trips on some of the debris on the deck, on the broken decking, and he falls back, and the guiding bolt shoots straight up into the void, and he's now falling, he's flailing on his back like a turtle, as the gadabout is behind him, and it's like bulbous, and the wings are fluttering as the goon balloon is starting to move towards him. The goon balloon is going to move towards him, because that's the end of his go, and it's going to strike out with 2 talon attacks at Merrick. And the first one's going to miss, because that's a 3. Second one is definitely going to hit. Where's the goon balloon? It's going to hit him for 1d6. Oof! 1d6 damage. He's going to take 5 points of damage on Merrick as the goon balloon is now on top of him, clawing at him. Kind of clawing at the front. He's like, ah! You hear him kind of squealing, and this is like his first ever piece of combat he's seen in a long time. As he takes a bit of damage into the chest, into that lovely leather armor that the scrape comes down. That's the end of the goon balloons go. Gray, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna use again. I'm going to use my short bow.
Okay, go for it.
So let's do that then. Right, I am rolling. That's cocked. How is it cocked? It's a digital dice. Anyway, I rolled a 9 to hit. I rolled a 9 to hit. I wish you could see my screen. It looks cocked, but it's actually just the
nice
size of the screen. I only rolled a 9 to hit.
A 9 to hit. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
as you like shoot out, and it just basically hits the leathery surface at the top part of the goon balloon and just skitters off into the darkness, and you see the arrow floating off into the void.
Yeah. That's it for me, dog.
Okay, so that's now back to Zilzara.
Okay, I am going to cast Frostbite at the remaining
Okay.
goon balloon. So he needs to succeed a con saving throw of 15.
Okay. I rolled exactly 15 on the dice. To the Constitution, that's 17. So does it take half damage or anything?
It has a disadvantage on the next weapon. Oh no, hang on. No, it doesn't take any damage if it succeeds the save. It's only on a failed save it takes damage.
Okay, so now it's into Merrick. Merrick is basically, he has the kind of the goon balloon on top of him, and he's very worried that if he explodes it, it's going to kind of explode and poison him. But he has no real choice here. But what he's going to do is he's going to cast Spiritual Weapon at 2nd level, and a large spatula appears in the air
Yeet.
and swings up as if to knock the goon balloon away from him in an attempt to knock it off the ship. Okay. So where's my D20? Okay, so this is the spiritual weapon. Well, he summons the spiritual weapon. I don't think it can actually go. Is it going to go now? Create a floating spiritual weapon within range that lasts for the duration until you cast spell. As a bonus action in your turn, you can move the weapon. The weapon can take whatever form you choose. On a hit, it doesn't actually say when it can actually go. I'm trying to remember when, because I haven't used spiritual weapon in ages. When you cast a spell, you can make a melee spell attack against a creature. Okay, you can. So it's going to swing itself. The spatula is going to like try and scoop the goon balloon up off Merrick and off into space. So that is a 7 plus his spell modifier, which is 6. That definitely hits. So the spatula scoops up the goon balloon, which I need to roll damage on that. Damage is okay. That'll definitely do it. So the goon balloon gets scooped and it gets hit, and just as it's going away, I need you. So this is the way we're going to handle this, right? One of you roll me a d6. If it's 1 to 3, the goon balloon flies through the air, through the void, and careens off into space and explodes. If it's
you're doing it.
4 to 6, it explodes closer to Merrick and he has to roll a con save.
Okay. 3.
So if it basically the giant spiritual spatula hits the goon balloon, you see it. You hear it, like if you could hear it, just hear it, like when you kick that cheap plastic football when you were a kid. You hear that boom, hollow beach ball sound. If there was sound, that's what you'd hear. And the goon balloon careens off into space, and it gets about 60 to 80 feet away, and you just see it expand on itself, and then there's like a cloud of dust that just hangs in the void and spirals off into the distance. 2 clawed feet detached, floating in different directions. As the final goon balloon gets blown away, Merrick is lying there on the deck, just like with this giant spatula spiritual weapon floating above him, looking up into the void. He's like, ah. That seems to be the end of combat. No more goon balloons in your vicinity.
Wow.
Is it just me, or were those little chits way more adversarial than they should have been? I've never seen anything like them. Have you, Merrick?
No, but I don't tend to get out much from the ship. I've heard tales of goon balloons before, but I've never seen them. And he kind of...
I'm gonna help him up.
Oh, thank you. I hope that was the last of them. Shall we go below decks and try and find this thing you sensed, Gray?
Sure. I mean, I'm just hoping at this point that the power I sensed wasn't them. But we can check it out. I might try and tune in again.
Yeah, you can both. You give me a detect magic or detect, like you kind of with detect object. You have to know what you're looking for, but with detect magic, you can see what's on the ship. If there's anything at all.
I can do a detect magic.
I did an Arcana roll and got 11.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a spell slot and do detect magic.
Okay. So Gray, you focus in, and just as you're focusing in, Zilzara also casts detect magic. You see the arcane symbols appear in the air around her hands, and you focus yourself, and you can sense that what you sensed originally is below decks. And with detect magic, Zil, it kind of like it goes out like in a bubble around you. What is the radius on that? What level did you cast it at?
It is, I think it's only 30 feet. Yeah, within 30 feet of me.
So the bubble kind of expands out into this ship, and while you don't detect anything on the upper decks, you definitely get a certain amount of pings in the below decks.
Yeah.
And
So
nothing seems to be definitely objects.
Yeah, and I can. It's concentration up to 10 minutes, so I suppose I can keep
it up.
That spell up as we're kind of walking through to see if it kind of hums as we get closer or whatever.
You notice that there are some holes in the decking that you could probably jump down through to get to the lower decks, or you notice that other door that has a slight barring on it, like a bit of debris over it, seems to be the door down into the hole of the ship.
Okay. Gray, what do you think? Shortcut through the hole, or?
I think so.
Okay.
So you
After you?
Yeah, the three of you gather around, and whoever wants to go down first can go down.
I will.
Gray's gonna do the most amazing acrobatic jump and make us all look like fucking idiots.
Yes.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. If you want to give me an acrobatics roll, you can.
Oh yeah, let's do it, baby. Oh my god. 27.
Jesus. With the gadabout engaged, Gray deftly just looks down in the hole, leaps about 5 to 6 feet in the air, tail overhead, and then just straight away, hands across the chest like that, legs first, down into the gap. You see them disappear. The wings fold up on the gadabout as you just like down into the deck. And as you land, Gray, in the darkness, it's full-on superhero landing in the darkness. Dust kicks up around you and hovers in the void because there's no gravity. And just kind of like, and it's just suspended. And you see debris moving around you, but you manage to dodge all of it. And Zilzara, following that, and you can float down, and Merrick gingerly lowers himself down into the hole, kind of like hanging on, lowering down, like, and then drops down beside you. All three of you are now in the bows of the ship. And while there is a lot of like kind of what looks like old cargo crates here and stuff like that, it's very obvious very quickly there's a glow down one end of the ship, greenish in nature, that seems to be emanating from a section that is unmolested, not touched. Nobody's kind of gone in here and then looked through it. It seems miraculously seems to have survived any scrutiny from anyone looking for salvage. And it's about 15 feet away from you, kind of towards the end of the ship.
Ooh,
Follow the pretty green lights.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta go investigate that, obviously.
Well, my magic detection is heightened.
Oh no, and it's giving off pings. Like you can see the glows, and in your senses you can sense that is where it's coming from. Though that kind of there are small dotted pieces of it around. But you can give me an investigation check if you wish to look around the area.
Yeah.
18.
20, dirty 20.
20, yeah, straight up. Both of you straight away start looking through this space, and you find all sorts. You do find like arcane crystals would seem to have full charges in them that would have been used as kind of batteries within the ship. You also
into the bag.
Yeah, you find like small caches of like little bundles of like silver and gold in some or two with that higher roll. So in total you find around maybe 20 gold in different variations of silver, copper, gold, all adding up to 20 gold.
How many crystals, sorry, did you say?
In total you find about 6 or 7 crystals, so say 7. There are some weapons here as well. There's some cutlasses, some flintlock, what look like flintlock pistols. They're ancient, they're old, they're decorative in nature. They have like beautiful filigree on them, like little kind of gold and silver. They're dusty and worn, but they definitely look like they're old, they're ancient.
Is there a matching pair, Wayne?
With that roll, yes, you find the matching pair.
Okay, I take 2 of them and I just put them in my backpack. I'm not arming them. I just want to have a good look at them later.
Cool. Okay. There's other things as well, like stuff like scrolls and star maps that are ancient and dusty.
Can I roll an Arcana check to see if, or a history check to see if there's anything worthwhile on the scrolls and the maps and stuff?
Yeah, give me a
Whichever
history
one
check.
you want.
Yeah, give me a
History check. L'histoire. 16.
16. What language? You speak Draconic as well as Common.
I
don't
speak, yeah, only common and Draconic. Yeah.
Okay. You don't recognize the language these are written in. It's scrawly, ancient, but well preserved in this hold, because the void doesn't have any mold or anything, and it's not going to try and depreciate. The oxygen doesn't get at it, so they've been sealed in tubes, but they are ancient of nature, with some beautiful scroll work on it, intricate designs. Some of them are actually also schematics. Because the both of these rolled quite high, the DC was 16, but these rolled a 20 and an 18 respectively. You rolled an 18, didn't you, Zilzar? On
the investigation, yeah,
Yeah.
it was 16 on the history check, yeah.
Yeah, so, but you do find on the investigate, you find these old schematics, that, again, written in a different language you don't understand, that seem to be for some form of arcane ballistas. That may have been adorned on this ship at one point, but have been since been removed. But these seem to be the design for something like that.
Okay.
That incorporate the crystals that you've found as some form of battery.
Right. Well, any of those scrolls, schematics, and stuff that I've managed to identify, I can't read them, but I know somebody on the ship will know, or fail. Like, I don't know. Whatchamacallem, Alavar might know something, or if not, they can wait until we see Captain Ming-Na. But I suppose I recognize their importance, so into the bag they go.
Merrick is doing an investigation as well. He got a dirty 20 actually. Rolled a
Ooh,
19.
nice.
He is looking for any kind of medical supplies, anything like that. And he doesn't really find anything. He finds some old potions that are long past their sell-by date, but they're kind of like they're dark and viscous in their bottles. They wouldn't have been well preserved. But he does find some surgical materials, some kind of bandages and stuff like that, so just healing stuff. He also finds a crate that's locked, and the lock seems to be arcane in nature. And it's small, it's only a small little crate, small little chest thing, arcane in nature, but it's sealed with an arcane lock that he can't seem to be able to get open.
Careful, it could be a mimic.
Ooh. Yes, it could be.
So when you see it, he holds it up, and it's a beautiful little chest. It's tiny. It's not exactly a chest as such. It's like a small lockbox, and it's got and he kind of cleans it off, and there's a large cylindrical or a circular arcane lock at the front with runes on the side of it, and it's got like a gold inlay and intricate designs on the box itself.
Is he keeping it?
He's holding it up. He's kind of like, well, you have the bag of holding, so he's kind of gesturing it to somebody to take it.
Take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take it.
It's not like we're short for space.
I mean, it's definitely cursed, but take it.
This is cursed. That is cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take it, unless you want to blast it open. But I think I've had enough excitement with our goon balloons, for the minute, and we still have to get to the end of this corridor, right?
I want to.
You've kind of moved along that corridor and found this stuff as you've gone. That investigation was the entirety of the hold, or sorry, the kind of the hold of the ship. Like a lot of the stuff, the crates were empty for the most part, but there was a large section at the end that you went to that seems to have been where you found the stuff.
Sorry, Gray, did you say something there?
I was going to provisionally apologize to every man I meet for the next 3 months that will be called a goon balloon at least once.
It's a fairly, it's a good insult without being too insulting.
It's fantastic.
Oh, you fucking goon balloon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you never got outside the door all weekend? Yeah, bleeding goon balloon. But yeah, Wayne, you don't know what you've done.
Hey, don't blame me. I didn't name the thing. This is
no, you
I
put it in front of somebody who insists.
Blame the dice as well, because it's on an encounter. I made an encounter table. I rolled the dice, and that's what came up. You could have been fighting another thing.
Wow.
I'm gonna have a little read of the monster manual later now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in
All
the
right.
Spelljammer monster manual. It is part of the Spelljammer lore. So, but you should still be
Very
Oh,
you still
so
be
it
able to
mightn't
find.
be in the regular one.
It
No?
won't be in the regular one. It's part of. But I think it's part. I think it's free up on the website to look up. Goon Balloon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's spelled exactly how you would think it'd be spelled.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So what are
Amazing.
the group doing now?
Okay.
What-
How?
we look at our list and
Yeah.
we see what we can take off.
So the list had you down looking for arcane batteries, looking for weaponry of some sort, looking for any healing potions, looking for anything that may be facilitable. You know that the other groups are looking for this as well. You know that they're also looking for timber and stuff, which they've gone. You've ticked off a fair chunk of stuff on your list. You found what you think are arcane batteries. You rolled with it really high. Like the fact that you found all this stuff in the first go was just
Oh, right, okay.
those rolls.
Okay.
If you didn't roll as well as you rolled, you would have had to go on probably somewhere else. But you found a lot of the stuff early doors.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Like first
That's
try
good.
out the gate, which is really good.
Oh, that's good.
That's
So
encouraging. Do we want to? Hey, Gray, do we want to try and go to another wreck and see if we can get a bit more? I would love to be able to come back with, I don't know, a weapon that we could attach to the silver
Yeah.
sphere. But I'm also conscious that I'd say a lot of the weapons have been scavenged already.
Yeah.
But let's maybe try one or two more, because we've done really well in this first.
Yeah. Yeah, let's push our luck. I agree.
okay.
Merrick,
So-
what do you think?
Merrick's like, I mean, I'm happy to go wherever you think we need to go. I think we found some excellent stuff. I'm happy to go back to the ship with just this, but if you feel you need to go further, let's do that too. I feel we've hit gold dust with this one. Maybe as long as there's no more of those balloon things, anything less savory, I'll kind of stay back a bit, heal and things. Oh, and he kind of looks at you as well. As like, you're looking a bit peaked, actually. Do you feel okay? Because you've been poisoned.
I have. If you have any healing potions, I'd appreciate it, because that little stinker did poison me.
Just wondering if he has anything that can remove it. My DM screen is not here.
You know, Zill's going soft when she calls something a little stinker.
Yeah. She doesn't want to offend Merrick's poor
Yeah.
sensitive ears too much.
Yeah, that's very
He is a
thoughtful.
little rattled. And again, her being thoughtful is weird.
Yeah.
So, see now. Poison creature has disadvantage. It doesn't actually say. So he kind of just reaches out and he's just going to cast just a very basic level 1 cure wounds.
Okay.
So that's 2d8 plus 4. We're going to heal 13 points.
Okay, so I only needed 6. Does that remove the poisoning then, or?
Yeah, let's say it does. I don't like it's this type of poisoning. There's nothing. I'm looking up the poison condition. It doesn't say whether it has to be removed in a specific way. So I'm just going to say that the cure wounds removes the poison.
No, you have to go to the Pokemon Center.
So you gather up all your items. Are you going to move on to another ship? Is that what you're planning on doing?
It's
Yeah,
convenient on the way back, if it's convenient. Nothing that we have to do ridiculous stuff for, because we've seen that Merrick is nervous.
It's your call here.
I'll do one more, Zill.
Yeah, we can always do one more.
Okay. So you strike out from this ship, jumping off. You make your way back up onto the top. You because you can jump back up through that hole, and you're up on the main deck, and you look around. Both of you give me a perception check or an investigation, and I'll roll for Merrick.
Okay.
Merrick is rolling ridiculously well.
16.
3.
16? 3. Merrick rolled 21.
Wow.
So, Gray, between yourself and Merrick, you're both looking out towards the ships, and you're trying to suss out ones that are close by that may be suitable. And you see a couple that have been completely ripped apart, like the hulls are destroyed completely. And just off in the distance, but yourself, Merrick clocks the first and points, and you follow his finger. You see this one particular ship. You're now moving towards the edge of the next inner circle, and you see this large kind of ship not a corvette, but more of a frigate that is lilting on one side. It's kind of the deck is pointing towards you. Its masts straight out, so it's kind of on its side in the void, and it's kind of blocked in between an asteroid and something. So it's been held in place, and you feel like, okay, well, that looks something there. There's definitely, it's big, so the chances of finding something that and it looks intact, there's a very good chance there's still some stuff on there. At this distance, you don't sense anything too much, like as in arcane in nature. But you reckon you could make it to that ship at a good push, but that will, you'd probably then have to go back after that because your
Yeah.
gadabouts have a limited use in space.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
yeah. So the
Let's
three of
try
you
that one.
push off towards that. I'm going to do a bit of story sidetracking here on this one. As the three of you push off, you're moving towards this large frigate on the edge of the kind of the outer ring of the corvettes, just touching in on the next ring of larger ships that are being drawn in towards the Titan. Focusing on that ship, the three of you pushing off, you move deftly and swiftly through the void, ducking and diving between debris, pushing yourself off large chunks of wood and rock, focused on your destination. None of you see this large shadow move up and over a neighboring ship, deftly moving and sliding in between the wrecks. As it sees you, it makes its way towards you, unbeknownst to yourselves. And that's where we're going to go to break. All right, so we'll be back shortly. We're going to take a quick break, quick pee break, and we will talk to you in a couple of minutes.
Cool.
And welcome back. We are back. We left the group floating towards a derelict frigate that was cast in the void, and a weird shadow was following them, ducking in behind debris and flotsam, but they were unaware of its presence. So, as you drop down kind of towards the ship, its decking is kind of like vertical, so it's nothing really obvious for you to stand on apart from the masts that are poking out, protruding out from the decking that seem to be fully intact, and they're kind of like a flat angle for you to come at and stand on, and kind of if that's where you're aiming to go towards. So what are the group doing at this moment as you're pushing yourself through the debris, deflecting certain chunks and moving onwards, your gadabouts kind of wing flutterings and pushing you through the void? What do you want to do in this moment?
We're going to the other. We're going to the other ship, aren't we?
Yeah. Is there any way that I can, I don't know, look around or, see around us?
You can give me a perception check.
Okay. Well, we all know how well they've gone so far. God, 7.
7. Yeah, no.
She's not very perceptive, that one.
You're too busy trying to duck in and out, because as you're moving into this new section of the debris, there's a lot of flotsam here, a lot of stuff just floating around you, and you're trying to avoid it, and it's distracting you from getting any read on anything around you, and you're focused on aiming towards this frigate in particular. You're about a couple of meters away from it now, where the masts are kind of right in front of you, and you can reach out and grab them and kind of steady yourself if that's what you wish to do.
Yeah, I want to reach out.
Okay.
And grab on.
Grant. Gray, what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm trying to make a nimble enough journey over there. Have I been hit by something?
Well, no, you've moved yourselves in or out. I mean, if you want, you can give me a dexterity check or an acrobatics check to see if you're pushing yourself through this with ease.
Yeah, bitch, let's do that.
I doubt that bit would be problematic. What'd you get?
I rolled a 1. So it comes to 12, but it is a 1.
Isn't that 1? It does come to 12. So what I'll say is, initially, you go to push yourself and you hit off a piece of flotsam and you push yourself a bit too hard, and you end up kind of moving kind of to the left slightly, and you collide with another piece of flotsam, cracking you in the back of the head for 2 bludgeoning damage. You right yourself and push off this other flotsam after taking that crack in the noodle. And there's a kind of a brew it's bludgeoning, so it doesn't break skin.
Right.
But you push out. You do take the damage of 2, and then you manage to right yourself and then push forward, and you kind of catch up then with Zildara, who's you're kind of like, when you're in a swimming pool, you're on the deep end and you're holding onto the edge of the pool, but then there's the drop forever below you. That's kind of what it's like. You're holding onto the mast.
Okay.
And the gadabout's wings are fluttering, but you can look in all directions. There's void below, void above, and the ship is to your left, and the kind of the flat decking, which is now looks like a wall to you, and you can see kind of holes in the decking, and you can see holes in the side of the ship, and you can see in a general sailing ship, you'll see that large section that's usually covered by a grate that would cover the entrance to the hull, where they would lower in stuff from a dock.
Yeah.
Right? So you can kind of see one of them, and it seems to be damaged and bent in a way that there's a hole that goes into the hull, but it looks like. Give me your perception or investigation at this point before I give you any more description.
Okay. I was gonna say I'd like to be able to kind of use the mast to kind of propel myself closer and make a beeline towards the biggest hole on the deck, I suppose. Not necessarily the grate covering.
Cool.
But I suppose the opening that's going to give us the easiest access, that a whole person or more can fit through without having to squeeze and shimmy in. And I got a 9 in my investigation roll.
Gray, what'd you get?
Oh, you're making me do it too. Sorry, I thought you were talking directly to Joe.
Yeah, both of you together. If he's wants, you don't have to.
Okay, what did you just roll?
9.
You rolled a 9 for investigation, but you can give me perception or investigation.
Okay. I'm gonna go investigation. Sorry, I thought that was a Zil only thing. An 8.
Okay. You both kind of look, and you can see that there's pot marks throughout the decking. There's nothing in particular that jumps out at you. You do notice that the largest opening is where this grate is.
Right. Yeah, well, nothing in particular jumped out at us the last time until we fucking went in somewhere. Why? Because the DM's a bollocks. Which is absolutely your right as a DM. If you weren't a bit of a bollocks, this game would be boring.
Okay. So what do we do?
Okay, so can I shimmy up to the hole and kind of peek in and see what I can see with my Whopper dark vision?
So are you going? Which hole are you going for? Are you going for the large one with the grate, or are you looking for a smaller one on the deck?
No, the biggest one there, so that one with the grate.
You move forward towards shimmy along the mast, and then you push yourself down with the gadabout with the wings flutter, and they propel you towards where this grate is in the decking, and you can kind of grab the sides of it and you look in. As you look in and you kind of sweep your eyes around, you see everything obviously is tumbled on the decking that wasn't tied down, has tumbled and fallen kind of to hit where the new floor is, essentially, because it's on its side, and there's now crates and everything stacked up on top of each other. Things are just a complete disarray. Anything that was tied down, though, you see there are some kind of what look like kind of cannons that are tied down in place.
Nice.
That are being held there, that are pointing out the side. Like, so they're cannons themselves. They're not like just grey cast iron cannons. There's beautiful intricate details on them, and as you take it all in now, you start to notice that there's about 3 or 4 of them along the sides. There's one at the far end to your right that has fallen out of its rigging and is now kind of hanging and just floating in the void, spinning slightly, but the rest all seem to be securely fastened in place. Because you're looking into a new space, because you're looking into a new space here, I need you to give me another investigation or perception check, one or the other. Okay, and Gray, if you're moving up behind Zilzara at this moment, you can do the same if you peer in as well.
All right, I'm not doing digital dice this time. They can fuck off. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled perception that time and I got an 11.
Oh. Threw the dice off the desk. Oh, for fuck's sake.
What did you get? Oh, 1, and that 1. Gray, as you're kind of going to stick your head in, A
I
piece of
stick my
debris.
head up my own hole.
A piece of debris kind of tumbles out of the hole as you move towards it, which forces you to kind of move back a bit so you don't get to look in correctly. Merrick is kind of moving in behind you and he kind of collides with you, and the two of you get sandwiched up against the kind of the grating. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. But with an 11, Zilzara, as you peer in, it takes you a second as you kind of look around, but then your eyes rest on a section where that one cannon has come loose.
Yeah.
And you focus in for a second, and with an 11, the DC was 10.
Yeah.
It takes you a second, but you realize, hang on, that just didn't just fall. You notice large claw marks in the wood that have scraped down and tore the rigging out.
Well, holy shit.
There's like 4 or 5 different. There's like a large 5-clawed hand just scraped down and dragged, and it's big. You say that from your guess, you'd say the hand is probably big enough to encompass a person.
Oh, great. I'm going to say to the other two, okay, so guys, looks like there's a cannon that we could potentially salvage for this silver spear that's kind of accessible. Outside of that, we'd have to go in and have a look to see if there's anything else worth taking. But the cannon that's been knocked loose has been clawed loose by some very large claws that could probably grab one of us in one of their claws.
Yeah, they might still be here.
Yeah, not very comfortable with that. I would, to be honest, having seen those claw marks, I am not loving the idea of going further into this ship.
What about if I try to do a little clamber, sneaky, looky, baity, and then if something comes out, I try to escapey. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Merrick, could you help with that too?
I can certainly try to help in any way I can. From yes, I guess. Merrick is very much chattering, like there's a nervousness to him now, as he's kind of eyeing the distance between where they are, and he looks behind us and he see how far you are now from the spear, from the silver spear as a distance, and you can see him trying to work out how long it would take you to get from here to there quickly.
Right.
What do you think? I'm feeling lucky with zero evidence why I should. I mean, why not?
I'm up for it, and maybe worst case, Merrick, you make a beeline for the sphere with what we've collected so far.
Like leave now?
No. Help us first, but if things go tits up,
of course.
Take the gadabout out of here.
Indeed, and he's kind of gesturing as he talks. Then he realizes he's starting to float away, and he kind of and then grabs onto the grate. And he's like, "Yes, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I like that idea. Yes, let's do that." And he's still
okay. He's casting spells on himself, I think.
So what's the plan here? What do you just want to do in this moment, Gray? What is your plan here that you want to enact?
My plan is, I'm being a dumb bitch because I'm used to volunteering for sneaky work and quick work and scampering work, but I'm in a gadabout. But I'm still gonna try. I'm gonna see. I want to go up there and have a good look at the cannon and possibly draw out whatever is there, and then try and make good my escape.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you want to start moving, and then you're gonna move?
Yeah,
your way in?
please.
Okay. So you move your way in, and like you kind of start pushing in through the boxes, and you kind of shift stuff aside, and you make your way towards where the cannons are. You're now in the bowels of the ship. Zill, are you still outside keeping an eye, or what are you doing?
I think I'll come inside, but I'll stay near the entrance and I'll get Merrick to stay outside. So I'm going to come in so that I can at least have a better view of
Yeah.
the inside of the ship. But I'm going to let um Gray do his acrobatic nonsense and kind of just be closer to hand.
Okay. So Zayla's just inside the entrance. Like the,
Yeah.
I
the
can
hall-
always bamf closer if I need to.
Yeah. Gray is just inside the kind of the gaping hole in the grate. Merrick is on the outside and he's kind of keeping a look, keeping a watch. And Gray, you've moved in. Gray, give me an acrobatics check to see how quickly you move up through the interior of the ship because it's significantly bigger.
29, baby.
It's
Woohoo!
significantly bigger than the spear. Like you could fit in this hole, like it's because it's a big bulbous bottom ship. You could fit the
The
spear
fat bottom
inside it.
ship.
Big fat bottom ship. And Gray, you deftly push your way up, spinning and twisting, moving in and out of the debris. And you get to the cannon pretty quickly as it's hanging there, and you're kind of grappling onto it. And you can see that it's still kind of kept in place where the claw marks are, which you now see in sharp relief in front of you, and they are vast. Like you're floating next to one, and one is essentially the length of you as you're standing there, kind of like hanging there, going, oh. And you can see that the ropes have been cut, and there's large chunks taken out of other sections of the ship below it. But you reckon if you cut 2 or 3 more of these ropes, you could pry this loose and push it out towards the exit easily. And as you're closer to it now, 2 things are going to happen here. Gray, I want you to give me a perception check or an investigation on the cannon. Silzara, I need you to give me a perception or an investigation on your surroundings.
Okay.
That's an 18 from me, Wayne.
Excellent.
It's a 19 for me, perception.
Okay. So,
Ooh.
2 things happen at once. Gray, you're looking at this cannon and you realize this is a powerful piece of equipment from what you can tell. You can see it's a top loading piece, so it looks like there's something loaded into the top part of the cannon that is beautifully designed. Long, swirling, intricate designs along the side of it in silver, as it seems to be carved into it and then laden with silver, all along and up along the shaft and to the mouth of the cannon as well, which is actually the shape of what looks like a large fanged creature with multiple eyes on the top of its head. And this large fanged creature has, like, it does have fangs on it, but they kind of aim outwards as if when the cannon explodes, it explodes out of the fangs. It's massive, it's huge, and you can only guess what its actual weight is in normal gravity. But you can you as you kind of collide into it, it kind of turns slightly, and those ropes that are left become taut. In that instance, at the same time, Zilzara, as you're standing inside the kind of the entrance, you're now looking around the ship and looking at the entrance more, and there's something you're realizing quickly. The grate that the hole is pushed outwards, like something large broke its way out of the hull of the ship. And as you look
Right.
at the entrance from the inside of the hull, all around the actual grate and the wood that's in the grate are loads and loads of smaller claw marks and then larger claw marks that all seem to come from the same 5-taloned creature, but they seem to be made by ones of different sizes. And you're kind of looking around, and at a 19, you now perceive that the entire space in the hull is covered. And as you look up the other end of the hull, away from where Gray is, you see there is a massive hole torn out of the end of the ship. And the hole itself is broken apart and is pushed inwards. So from that perception check, and 19 is quite high, you kind of guess something came in the front,
Yeah.
pushed its way through, did something in here, and then pushed its way out of the ship. So something came through the ship, inside it, multiple things here, and then pushed their way out onto the deck of the ship.
Okay. I am going to speak over the radio to Gray and say, how's it looking? I think we need to get out of here pretty sharpish. Something has been through here, something big and grisly, and has more claws than I would like.
Yeah, I see the claw marks up here. This thing's beautiful. So I'm gonna try and cut these ropes, but you guys stay as near an exit as you can.
Could we get a cannon of that size into a bag of holding?
No, because the opening of the bag of holding is not.
That's okay. I was just wondering, did it stretch? That's fine.
It's an interesting concept, actually. You could try, I guess. I mean, I'd allow it if you want to try, and it's literally like goatsy in the fucking bag of holding to try and get the cannon in.
No,
like,
I think that would be quite silly.
yeah.
No, it'd be be
It's
different.
not Mary
if it was
Poppins
like-
here, like just pulling out an arcane cannon out of her bag.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm just like, once Gray gets that loose, we're gonna have to essentially, the 2 or 3 of us, fly it back to the Silver Spear at whatever the top speed of the Gadabates is. So yeah. Okay. Gray, do you want me to help you?
I don't think so. I think I'd rather have you near the exit.
Okay. Merrick, notice anything weird outside?
Merrick has been looking around, like I don't. I've been rolling his perception checks here as you've been talking. I don't see anything right now. But I would recommend haste. Quick, haste, speedy, haste. As he's kind of the worried look on his face as he kind of scans the horizon.
Okay.
So, what are you doing, Gray?
Oh, I'm cutting the ropes.
Okay, so you take your dagger out and
Yeah.
start to cut the ropes. It takes you a couple of
Schnickety
minutes,
schnick.
and you like the blade is sharp, but it's like you cut through the ropes quick enough, and the you see that it slackens. Like obviously the ropes kind of float,
Yeah.
but it frees the cannon, and you can kind of try to maneuver it and push
Yeah.
it. Now you're in the
Just do
void.
little kickety kicks.
You're in the void. There is obviously weightlessness here, but there's still an element of force needed to give it some momentum. So
Yeah.
I need you to give me a strength check pushing this.
Okay. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm giving it wee.
Yeah.
Giving it wee. Skibbity pops. Do you see that, Wayne?
A nat 20. Oh my god.
Nice.
So a nat 20. Gray, you kind of position yourself against the hull. You put your little feet against it, your toe bean feet, and you push with all your might. And you're even shocking yourself. All of a sudden, you just feel this shifting of kind of space and the void around it as the cannon just gently spins and moves towards Zilzara in the general direction. And with a nat 20, it gets there with ease. You push it along, and then you grab onto it for momentum and ride it through the kind of the center of the hull of the ship, or the kind of the hold. And
Doctor Strangelove style.
full on, like when you're wrapped around in this twisting as it spins through the air, you kind of deftly, within seconds, you're there with Zilzara, and Zilzara manages to stop it. Within that 20, I'll allow for both of you together to stop that, and you have it there at the exit and entrance. Just in that moment, you look up, and Emeric is giving one last scan. I will say this: he's been rolling dog shit on his perception checks. I've got nothing over a 9 for the last couple of rolls. I've now rolled a 12 on his perception. His perception is +5. No, that's you. Sorry, that's his perception is +2. So that's a 14. Just as you get the cannon, Zil, you look up and you see Merrick's face, and he is white with shock.
Okay.
As you just see his hand come up, and he's just shaking, and it's just pointing in the distance. And he's like, we need to move. We need to move now, quickly. Get it out of here now, and we need to go. As he's just pointing off in the distance, just stammering to himself.
We
Okay,
also
can
want
we-
to do that.
Yeah. Can we maneuver the cannon out the hole?
Yeah, you maneuver the cannon out, both of you coming with it, and as you crest up over the exit of the ship, you look up and you follow Merrick's finger where he's pointing. And it takes you a second. You can give me... No, you see it. It's not... You don't need perception or investigation on this, because what you see is huge. Coming from the direction of the center of the gravity well where the Titan is, there's a small swarm of shadows that come into sharp relief quickly as you see these four-legged creatures shambling along the wrecks, and they're jumping and leaping in the void deftly and sharply and quickly as they move through them. You see these small with tusks coming out of their face, they're and kind of large oval shaped beady eyes, excuse me, that glow gold. They have a kind of a grayish underbody with a purple scalish back that goes along from the crest of their heads all along their backs. There are sharp pointed horns, and then as I said, two large tusks. They're kind of like huge muscular forearms and large muscular hind legs as they're kind of running on all fours in the void, moving quickly. And that is just the small ones. From behind them, you see this gargantuan monstrosity pushing itself out into the open from one of the wrecks. A massive, massive kind of cruisers that are about 3 or 4 rings back of debris. As it's like, you see what's called a nightmare beast, and it lives up to its name. It is a gargantuan monstrosity, pure, unadulterated viciousness, and its small brood of creatures that seem to be its offspring, smaller than it, but still quite large, are moving at speed towards the outer rings of the debris after, you guess, is just basically understanding that there's somebody out there, and they're all moving in your general direction. Give me a perception check just to see if they've spotted you.
9.
11.
What was it, 7 or 11, Gray?
11.
11. It doesn't look like, I'm going to roll for Merrick actually as well. That's a natural 16 plus 2 is 18. Merrick is like, I don't think they've seen us. I don't think they've seen us. But they're moving quickly and fast and in this general direction, and they do seem to be coming to the outer rings of the debris field. But they haven't spotted you yet.
Is there any cover that we could hide behind with the cannon that they might bypass?
We can
us?
hide behind the cannon, right?
Maybe one of you. The cannon is kind of the length of a person,
Right.
so maybe one of you could hide behind it, and then you could pile up, I guess. But there's plenty of debris between here and the spear. For you
How
to
far are they away, Wayne?
They right now.
Yeah.
They're a couple of hundred feet
Okay.
away. Like, they're moving quickly towards you. They're about 2 rings away. So they're in there. They're coming from the intersection. They're not exactly at the Titan. They're kind of at the next ring over. And that large gargantuan monstrosity, which seems to be the big one, is slowly but surely moving its way out from behind one of the cruisers. And it's kind of looking out in the general direction of trying to suss out things. Now, what do you want to do in this moment? The creatures don't seem to have seen you yet, but they are moving.
We are going to maintain our pace to get the fuck out of there, I presume, Zil.
Yeah, but also, is there a path that we can see where we can essentially debris cover hop? So, like, strategically make our way from cover to cover, ideally, as you know, without them spotting us, get back to the silver spear.
Give me an investigation or perception check, both of you together, or one of you with advantage, whatever you want to do.
17.
21.
21. Quickly, surely, the two of you put your heads together, and you're like looking from the direction you came. You spot over to the left side, kind of at the far end. So this particular frigate that you're in is kind of jammed into part of what looks like a large asteroid. That's keeping it in the position that it's in on its side. It seems to have crashed into it. And around the side of that asteroid leads to the outer ring of the Corvette ring, which there are a clump of Corvettes stuck together that seems to offer more cover. And it's on the outer side of the ring that would bring you around and come up behind the silver spear. And with that high of a roll as well, you look off in the distance and you can see the small little specks of the other crew members slowly but surely making their way back to the spear itself. You can see the spots. So it looks like they've also, you can't tell whether they've also spotted these creatures, but they definitely seem to be making a move back to the spear from their part of the ring. But you reckon that
Okay.
this particular path might give you the most cover, and allow you to move with the cannon at certain speed in that direction to kind of keep you away from those creatures for now.
Okay. Our gadabout radios, we can't contact the other group with those, can we? We can only talk between
Essentially, the way
ourselves.
the Gadabout radios work, and the way I'm saying they're going to work from my own kind of idea of homebrewing these things, type of things, is that they have a certain range. You can
Yeah.
definitely attempt to communicate, but you don't know what effect that communication is going to have in the
Yeah.
space that you're in, whether the other
Yes.
creatures
Yeah.
can hear
Okay.
you,
Yeah.
so on
Good
and
It's
so
going to
point.
forth.
be
Depending on
detected.
your call on
Yeah.
that one, you have to make that choice and take that risk, whether that's going to be detected or not.
Yeah, I'd rather not potentially jeopardize the other crew members. So okay. So Gray, if we take that path that you were pointing out, we can get back to base quickly.
Yeah.
Providing we manage to get to each step in sufficient time and without drawing any attention to ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's try.
Which one of us has the bag of holding? I know it's normally you, I think. Should we give Merrick the bag of holding so he can make a run for it
Yeah.
if we need to?
He's not going to be wielding any weapons. He's got free hands, so I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I think if all three of us to start off with, if we all kind of get behind the cannon and pull it together, and we can peel off if we need to, if those guys spot us. Okay.
So are you all clumped around the cannon?
Yeah, so in my head, I'm like, either we're kind of around the side, or maybe there's one person on each side and somebody coming up the rear to kind of push it.
Steer.
Like two are kind. Yeah.
Okay. So you're all pretty close to it. I need all of you to give me one of two things. You can give me a perception or an arcana check for a second, please.
Okay. I'll do an arcana check.
I'll do a perception check. Oh, 16.
16. Both of you got 16. So as you're starting to move away with the cannon, aiming yourselves kind of at the far end of the ring towards that clump of corvettes that are smashed together to give you that cover, you're looking at the cannon. And that top loader section where you were looking, the shape of it and the size of it, it clicks with the both of you at the same time. You both look at each other and then look at the bag of holding and realization that hole is very similar in shape and size to the arcane crystals that you took from the previous ship, as if one of them could fit into that cannon and work as some form of battery or artillery or some energy thing that would power it in some way.
Can one of us try and figure out how to fit that in while the other two are kind of pushing it, like just so that we can kind of try and multitask?
Yeah.
And if we need to use the cannon on those beasties, we can. Yeah. I don't mind. Do you want to give it a go, Gray, or I can?
I'm gonna try and escape.
So Gray's not gonna.
Okay, I'm gonna.
My lag.
Route around.
Just a wee bit of lag on you there, Kim. Just stay.
Okay.
I think you're coming in and out. We can hear you. Okay.
Oh, let me make sure there's no Wi-Fi, no other windows open or anything.
That's okay. So, Zilzara, did you want to look at the arcane crystals and look at them?
Yeah. Can I do
that? While Merrick is holding on and he's pushing this kind of the gadabout wings are doing most of the work here. They have the motion.
Yeah.
Push you. So with the tree is all clumped together on the cannon, the gadabout wings are moving you slowly but surely towards the thing. The mouth of the cannon is still pointed in the direction of the ship. And you take out one of the crystals and go to look to slot it in. And you notice that it just slots in perfectly. And then you feel the hum reverberate through the cannon as it just seems to come to life. Zilzara, you've taken that arcane crystal.
You see my picture based on your description, Wayne.
It's not far wrong from what they look like. It's not far wrong. If you want to look up Nightmare Beast, you'll get a picture. It's not too far off.
I'll do a side by side afterwards.
So, you slot the crystal in. The cannon hums to life, and it is pointing in the general direction of the ship. And you're all clinging to it. The gadabouts are pushing and whirling, but no sound has been made. I'm going to continuously roll perception checks for these creatures to see if they see you. Can you all roll me a stealth check, please?
Sure.
Okay. You're trying to beat a 15.
Oh, 18.
A roll from Eric.
I thought that looked cocked as well on a digital dice, which doesn't make sense.
18.
Nice. And Merrick rolled quite well as well. He rolled a 19. So you're staying quiet for now. It's going to take a couple of rounds for you to get, so you get quick enough to the debris of the corvettes on the edge, and they're all clumped together. This collection of ships that all seem to have been mashed together in the void. They've over time collided and has ended up becoming this pile of broken wood and metal as they kind of spin and twist slowly in the void.
Okay.
Yeah, you slowly but surely bounce into it. There's no hard impact here because the gadabouts can slow you and speed you up at will. But you feel like as you look, you're at a kind of a 45-degree angle to the spear, and as you look back, you can see that these creatures are now moving close. They're about 2 rings behind you, and you reckon it's going to take one big push, to get you to the spear. Can you all roll me a perception check, please? A roll from Merrick.
15.
Oh, it's very good.
Dirty 20.
30-20. Merrick also got a dirty 20. So all three of you together, kind of looking it in, taking it all in, looking at the space, you realize it'll take one big push that will risk them seeing you, or you could be careful and move around some debris, but that might take longer and give them more opportunities to get closer to you before you reach the spear. So you need to make the choice on that.
What do you want to do, Gray? One big push?
One big push.
We are adventurers.
We are.
Okay, so you kind of, with the armed cannon, kind of now twisted and pointed.
Actually,
yeah, it twisted and pointed at the Nang beasties.
It's
well, presumably, are we going to do like TV show rules where you pierce the back of a dinghy and it sends you faster down the river? Are we going to shoot it out, meaning it'll propel itself forward towards the ship?
Well, I just wanted to be able to, before we did our one big jump, if we could turn the cannon so that it's facing, the mouth of the cannon is facing behind us at the nightmare beast. So if we need to, we can let off a blast. And the bonus would be, hopefully, that if we're all holding on, it'll propel us as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's some double whammy stuff, all right.
So do you want to fire the cannon? So remember, just as a kind of a side note as well, in space, nobody can hear you scream or shoot a cannon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There is no sound here. So
yeah, that's good. The only thing that would stop me is being found, but yeah.
If your plan is to fire the cannon as a last resort, that's fine. That's a choice you can make. Or if your plan, you will get propulsion from the cannon blast. It will propel you fast, and it'll aim you, like depending on how you have it aimed, it would propel you at a high speed towards your destination if you aim it correctly.
And the just to double check as well, so we put a crystal in to activate the cannon. That's not like equivalent to one cannonball. Does that fire multiple shots, or is it one? We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay. I kind of want to say let's fire it. Let's aim the cannon at the beasties, because even if it doesn't get us all the way to the ship, hopefully we'll do some damage on them too. Because even when we get to the ship, they're gonna get to us eventually.
I've just
Yeah.
rolled the perception for the beasts again, and I rolled 3 natural ones.
Yeah,
So they're
baby.
literally, because I rolled 3 natural ones. Now there's like, I rolled 5 times, but the other 2, it was a group check. So 3 natural ones completely failed. They're lumbering through the debris, but you're covered enough that they don't see you at all.
Right.
Nightmare beasts.
So, are you aiming the cannon, trying to guess the trajectory, and you're going to fire it?
Trying to line it up so that it propels us towards the silver spear and also shoots at the nightmare beasts.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing: you're not at an angle that the cannon is going to shoot at them. So they're coming at
Right.
you this way. You're facing this way.
So
Oh,
just a
okay.
propulsion thing then.
Yeah, propulsion then.
Yeah. Okay. So you line up the shot. You gingerly turn it. You hold on for dear life, hoping that you don't let go at any point.
Yeah.
Once this
Lock
fires,
in, guys.
and that will push you. And the gadabouts again will be, the wings will be fluttering, and you're aiming towards the silver spear. That is kind of now, you now can see that the crew seem to be assembled, and they have now all noticed the nightmare beasts, the horde of nightmare beasts coming towards, and the large gargantuan one has now moved up through the thing. And you can see it now, and as you kind of, you start to peer around the corner of these corvettes debris field, and you look, and you can now see it lumbering through the space, pushing large kind of debris aside, and large sections of ships like that seem to be tiny compared to it. Like it's large 5-clawed hand just moving aside frigates and cruisers as if they were nothing, just toys to it. And you see its large kind of tusks poking out from the thing, nearly eclipsing, in conjunction to the Titan ship in the center of the gravity well, nearly eclipsing that entirely as it moves through this space. This thing is huge, and if it gets near you, you are fucked. When do you want to fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Taking the time to figure out, like you've taken the time between now and when you got from the ship, putting the crystal in, slotting it in. You know, if you just hammer down hard on that crystal, it will fire. So
Okay.
you look, the three, you look at each other in unison at this moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the other two and be like, "Hang on tight, guys. Ready?
Yeah.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Bang!"
And you punch the crystal. You feel the energy surge build up, but like it's like you're straddling this thing, and you feel it hum between your legs, and there's like a blinding flash of green light. No sound, but you are rocketed forward towards the silver spear. All 3 of you hanging on. I need all 3 of you to make a strength check, including Merrick. Is what I mean.
Oh shit, not strength.
Shit.
Okay, Merrick.
Uh-oh.
Well, this is a group check, so Merrick rolled
9.
9. Merrick rolled 17 plus 3, so that's 22.
5.
20, sorry, 20, 30, 20. 5.
Yeah.
The 2 of you start to slide down the kind of the cannon as you're kind of grasping at it. Your gadabout wings flickering. The cannon is getting out of your grasp, slipping. Merrick reaches out and grabs both of you by the hand. He rolled a dirty 20. Grabs both of your hands in his, holding on dearly with his thin little, like, matchstick thighs wrapped around the cannon as he tries to grab onto you. The kind of force of the cannon pushing the 3 of you through the void. The blinding flash of the cannon muzzle allows me to roll the perception checks of the beasts with
Fuck, did
advantage.
the lad see us?
They're rolling with advantage now. So, first roll. That is, I rolled double 13s. Holy shit. For the first roll, perception. Okay, it's a -1 on the perception, so that's 12. Okay, first group of small creatures see you as they kind of see the flash, and you can barely make out that their tusk-jawed faces switch and turn, and they start leaping towards the group. That's the first batch. The second one, that's crap. That's 2 5s. No, sorry, 5 and a 6. This is for the gargantuan creature, the massive one itself, to see if it sees you rocketing towards the spear. That was a natural 20. on the
Fuck.
perception check of the gargantuan beast as its head, massive tusked face,
Fuck.
turns, seeing the muzzle flash, and just sees this streak of light flitting towards the silver spear. It clocks the silver spear. It now starts to move. Now this thing has a movement speed of 30 feet. Okay.
Okay.
So it has it's kind of it's moving. It's about 3 rings back. It's going to take a couple of turns for it to get to the spear. The other smaller creatures are also that same amount of space. It's going to take them at least 2 turns to get to the spear. They are slightly smaller. They're only children of it, so they're not like as big, but they are big. They're about the size of a large person, because they're barely grown. So you have at least 2 rounds to get onto the ship and get the ship out of there. Starting with this round, as you rocket towards it, you're clinging on. I need one more strength check from everyone to make sure you hang on to the cannon while you're zipping towards the silver spear. You have to beat a 15.
15. Jesus.
3.
3. Gray, what did you roll?
15.
50. You got 15.
Yeah.
Merrick rolled an 18 plus 2. Actually, it was a 2. Strength check. Plus 3. So he rolled. Okay, so 2 things happen here. Merrick is able to hold on still. He loses his grip on Zilzara. Gray, you hold on. You watch as Zilzara is now free in space. Her gadabout is still flying, but she starts to slow as you zip ahead. You reach the ship. The cannon has lost all of its momentum. It's still rocking, like it's hurtling forward. It's infinite momentum in space. There's nothing blocking you until you hit the ship. You and Merrick still on the cannon collide with the side of the ship, and you have to try and grab on. So I need both yourself and Merrick to roll either acrobatics or athletics, one or the other. Merrick is going to go athletics.
21.
21. He rolled a 9 plus 7, which is 16. So you grab on immediately. He grabs on straight afterwards, and the two of you are clinging onto the side. Crew members rush over and start helping, pulling you up, pulling the cannon up. You're inside the sphere now of the ship, so the cannon is weighing you down. Like it's still there in the void. The gravity starts to kick in, and crew members all rush over and grab it. It's really heavy, and they're all pulling up. So it's a collective strength roll, which I'm going to do. Okay, that's a 19. So they managed to all start pulling you slowly up. Zilzara, you've slowed. It's going to take you another round to get to the ship. You will get there just ahead of the creatures if they manage to move quick enough. What I need here from you is I need you to roll an acrobatics roll or an athletics roll in order to make sure that you've pushed your way through the debris because you still have on moving momentum. You may have lost the grip on the cannon, but you still have the momentum from the cannon.
Yeah.
So you're able to roll with either acrobatics or athletics to see which gets you there.
I'm gonna roll acrobatics. 15.
15. You push yourself, you leap off debris, you push yourself off anything you can get a hold of to give you extra momentum through the space. Your gadabout goes a full tilt. You can hear it whirring and clicking as the gears and the internal organ pieces of this machinery and organic body of the gadabout starts to overheat with use. And your bubble starts to kind of flop and get a bit too close to you. You're getting very close to losing this. But you push through the bubble of the sphere of the silver spear. As the gravity takes you start to fall, and you go to land, and you grab onto the side of the ship and start to pull yourself up. Just as you look and you see Gray and Merrick and the cannon have been pulled up onto the deck. You all turn in unison, and these creatures are almost upon you. You see the large gargantuan one is about 2 rings back now, or a 1 ring back now. It's pushing through the kind of the second ring over, pushing past the frigates. Zilzari, you need to get yourself to the engine room to get the ship moving.
Yeah. I'm gonna leg it to the helm to go help.
Elevar has come up on deck. He sees you because he's heard the commotion on the deck. He comes up on deck, and he starts to move towards the helm with you. So this is all done quickly. So a few things have to happen here. The creatures are quite close. The smaller creatures are one ring away. The other one is just behind it, another ring away. I need you to give me an acrobatics check to see how quickly, or sorry, it'll be an athletics check as you're running, and I'm gonna roll for Elevar to see if he makes it to the place. He's gonna roll athletics as well. Where's his athletics?
13.
A minus 1. Okay, he rolled quite
Same,
actually.
minus
Rolled
one.
18 minus 1, so he rolled a 17. Collectively, you push each other through the corridors. You strap yourselves into the chairs, and you start to quickly try to attune yourself to each other's minds as the helm starts to raise, and the ship starts to turn as you quickly push through the mental blocks and any kind of intelligence things. Give me an intelligence check, please, to make sure that you're able to connect correctly with Elevar in this moment, so no creatures make it to the ship in time. This is the roll that's going to determine whether you take off or whether you're stuck for one more round and some of the creatures get on the ship.
Come on, Zil.
Did you get?
6.
6. I'm going to roll for Elevar. I didn't roll great. He rolled a 9. Plus 9, so that's an 18. Okay, so he rolled 18. You rolled a 6. You feel the ship move and tilt. I'm going to roll acrobatics for the creatures to see where's their stat block to see if they make it on board. Because the ship is moving. Because he got an 18 with the high enough roll. They've got no bonus to Dex, so it's a straight roll. I'm going to take a picture of this, so you know I'm not bullshitting you, and I'm going to send it to you. I rolled a natural 1.
Oh, fuck, thank God for that.
I rolled a nat 1. I'm going to send this to you now. You are absolutely blessed.
Oh, we love that, folks.
Hashtag blessed.
That's unreal. You're so fucking blessed.
Illustrator was looking out for me there.
Yeah. There's a nat 1 that I rolled. It's gone into the group chat. So you're straining to try and connect him with Elevar, and there are flashes of the last minutes of his brother, some horrible images of the clashes that were on the ship, and it's just like it's just not allowing you to connect. But the ship is slowly but surely moving away. Just as the creatures get to it, they try to scramble on board, and their claws careen into the side of the spear and scrape down the hull of the ship. And the crew are on the thing, and there's shouts and screams, and people are drawing weapons, readying themselves. The gargantuan creatures right on top of you. Give me another intelligence check, please, to see if you connect. The DC on this one is 15.
Can I do something?
You can try. They're trying to steer the ship, so if you want to come down and help and give her bardic inspiration or something to give her.
Yeah, I was gonna do something. I was gonna do something with the monster.
With the monster, what do you want to do?
I was gonna cast Hold Monster. If it's close enough.
It's pretty close, and the other creatures are pretty close as well. So yeah, what do I have? Hold Monster. What do I have to do on that? Do I have to roll any checks?
I'll paralyze it. Yeah. Choose a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or have a paralyzed condition for the duration. So it's 15 save and throw.
15.
Yeah.
I am not shitting you. I'm gonna take another picture of this again.
No, fuck off.
I just rolled another natural 1 with a different fucking dice.
Well, that's good because I rolled 12 on an intelligence check.
So you are, and I need to roll for Elevar.
He's paralyzed.
So the gargantuan creature is paralyzed, but the
gargantuan creature is paralyzed for the duration of
the smaller ones aren't. They're trying to scramble up onto the ship at this point. As they move towards it, you've moved away from the debris field, so they have to. So they're jumping. You've moved out of the debris field. They're in the debris field. They require on that. They need that to push themselves out.
Yeah.
So they're now kind of floating, moving towards the ship with momentum. After moving out of the debris field, the ship is slowly but surely moving away. It's just you haven't gotten the connection yet to push the hyperspeed. But I will say, after 3 attempts, you settle in. These horrible images are filling your mind, and it's now venturing into different realms. It's like you see these lush green fields with purple trees and dragons flying across the sky. You see these fields then flashing on fire. You see people running and screaming. There are these images that you don't know where they're coming from. They're weird. And then you see Carrad standing in this field with his back to you as he's slowly turning. And then it's gone. and then the connection makes contact. And you and Elevar, mind as one. The ship hums, comes to life. It goes to hyperspace, just in the last minute. But those haunting images are frozen in your mind as you feel the ship move through the void of this landscape you do not recognize, of something terrible happening, and of somebody you know to be dead, but their presence was there. As the ship moves through the void at hyperspeed, creaking and groaning around you, Grey, you're on the deck as you feel the ship lurch, and there's noises of like just wood and metal bending and going to the brink of its capacity of holding the stuff together, as the ship that is in dire need of repairs is pushing itself to its limits. And then there's like a snapping and creaking and breaking, and kind of sparks fly in the helm room as the ship grinds to a halt and pops back out of hyperspace, floating, twisting and turning, dead in the void, unable to move, in dire need of repairs. The ship, once more, hanging, listing to one side. Zilzara, you're pulled out of your mind with Elevar as the two of you panting and coughing. You lose 2 more spell slots. As the pain of the ship that is falling apart at the seams and in dire need of maintenance seems to be dead in the void. And that's where we're going to leave this month's episode of Sorcery Shenanigans. Yes, he's managed to escape just about. Some clutch hold monster and natural fucking ones.
Jesus.
But you
We got very lucky.
Got some work to do on the ship. You have some supplies. You think you've got enough, but let's see what happens in the next episode.
Just a question on the spell slots needed for the connection. So, because of moving the ship earlier and spells used against the goon balloons, I'm already out of level 1 slots. So, do I just work my way up?
Yeah, you work your way up.
Okay.
Work your way up.
Be needing a long rest.
Yeah.
So that is where we're going to leave this month's episode, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope the players have some squeaky bum moments time there.
Very squeaky bum.
Yeah.
We got greedy.
Look, until next time, folks, look after yourselves. Be excellent to each other. This has been Sorcery Shenanigans. Until next time, take care.
Bye.